Hey, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the June 28th Finance Committee meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
All right, Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Chavez, Member Covert, Member Desart, Member DeCiani, Member Eckhoff, Member Garcia, Member Hart, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Petalski, Member Renahan, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, Member Selman, Member Tornatori, and Member Zay.
Great, thank you. We have a quorum. We're going to move right into our presentations. This morning, we have our 2022 finance budget update. So welcome, Jeff. We had a similar presentation back in March, and we thought it'd be good to have another one for this meeting. So thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody. As the Finance Committee is aware, departments are currently working on their fiscal year 23 budget proposals. In the next several weeks, your respective committees will have an opportunity to review the budget proposals. Before those submissions are reviewed, we wanted to give you a quick update of where we are for fiscal year 2022, in particular, talking about the general fund. So we'll dive right in. We're going to talk about a couple of our major revenue sources, expenditures, income statement, and our fund balance. So the first slide you see up here and in your packets is sales tax. And I wanted to just give you a kind of a brief history of what's been going on with sales tax for the last couple of years. So the red shaded regions are the returns during the COVID pandemic. And as you can see, if you look at April and May of 2020, especially May of 2020, there was a big dive or a big reduction in sales tax due to COVID. And so throughout that, we were a little bit under budget through COVID, but we did rebound through those red shaded regions and really maintained kind of a level returns from where we were in 2019. So it held up pretty good. But then you'll see in the gold shaded regions, those are the returns after the Level the Playing Field Act went into effect. And as you can see there, there were significant increases in sales tax during those months, and it continues to happen. And we expect it to continue going forward. As I said a couple months ago, I think the Level the Playing Field Act probably generated anywhere from $20 to $25 million in additional sales tax revenue. And we are seeing it month to month. And so finally, the green shaded regions, we think we're back to a new normal with sales tax, meaning that our returns each month should match our prior year history of the Level the Playing Field Act. So we got some good comparisons now going forward. If I could turn your attention to the FY22 budgeted column, we budgeted $109.4 million. Year to date, with 5 months of sales tax returns, we're at $53.2 million, and we're $30.56 million over budget. So at this point, it's still a little difficult to know where we're going to land at the end of fiscal 22. What I did for these purposes was just take our budgeted amount for the next 7 months, project it against our actual returns. And I think sales tax will probably be anywhere from $121 to $125 million. So it's all good news on the sales tax front. We will keep watching that very closely. Some things are going on in the economy, I think, as everybody's aware, with inflation and gas and things like that. So we'll keep a tight eye on this. But we really think that if we meet budget, we'll still be significantly over fiscal 22 projections. Next slide, please. We wanted to give you an update on cannabis sales tax. And I'll just go from left to right through our columns. In FY20 and 21, we received the cannabis use tax. FY20, we were at $51,320. and 21, $127,233. So those two years generated a $271,983 in use tax. We have now received 3 months worth of cannabis sales tax. And that has generated $798,286. So when we take the use tax portion, the sales tax portion for fiscal year 22, we think we're going to generate about $2.8 million over budget in a category called other taxes. Now, going forward, when we amortize out a full year, going into the 23 budget, cannabis sales tax will probably be $3.2 to $3.7 million. So that's a fairly nice spike to our budget. We'll have an opportunity to budget for that again in the fiscal 23 budget. So I think we can expect maybe based upon the 3 months, maybe about $300,000 a month going forward. Next slide. I wanted to talk a little bit about income tax. This is more commonly known as the Lgdf Fund. This is another area we're doing really well in. The county receives 6.16% now of the Lgdf fund from the state. That's up from 6.06. With the state budget, there was a very slight increase from 606 to 616, generated an additional $133,000. So the state distributes our income tax dollars through Lgdf on a per capita basis. We're at about 96,000 population in the unincorporated area, but it's just been extremely well as far as income tax. I think that's a big function of corporate income tax returns. They're doing very well. Corporations in Illinois seem to be doing very strong, and we're seeing that month to month. To date, if you look at the fourth bar, blue bar, FY22 actual, we have already generated almost $9.1 million in sales tax. Our budget was 11.785. If our returns keep coming in as they have month to month, there's a good possibility that we'll generate about $17 million in sales. I'm sorry, income tax. Question, Chair.
Go ahead, Member Torrentori.
Why was the 2022 budget about $1 million less than the 2021?
That's a good question. We use projections that are done by the Illinois Municipal League. They're the body that really keeps an eye on the Lgdf Fund in Springfield. And I think they're a little bit conservative. They come up with a per capita rate. I think last year they used $132. It was way under, $132 per capita. It came in way under. So, you know, I think going forward, we'll probably use those IML estimates for the per capita rate, and then we'll have to come up with our own projections going forward too.
Okay, thank you.
Member Desart.
Thank you. You said that cannabis sales could generate 2.8 million a year. And then
This year, but in future years, I think will be 3.2 to 3.7 million.
Okay, yeah, because you said $300,000 a month. That's 3.6 million. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Member Kajewski.
I said, we're going to ask questions. I just want to go back to the cannabis slide. Can we just,
Yeah.
with the cannabis slide, can you give us 2 slides? Can you, we shouldn't have the use tax in there, it just gets confusing. So get rid of the use tax or give us one with just use tax.
Sure.
And then with the sales tax.
Sure. We can break that out.
Because now I'm going to be looking at those big numbers that come in here. I can't compare them to last. That's use tax against sales tax.
Well, what I can do is email those out. We do have 2
Sure.
separate.
And then with regards to the, you mentioned this year, our budget will be, or our actual year will be based on accrual, correct?
For what, I'm sorry, what's
For our
that?
year, for 2020. I mean, the actual is accrual. It's going to be
Right.
accrual. So on an accrual basis, we will be well over 2.8 million because those numbers, if you gave us 2.8 based on cash, those numbers are
On an
January.
accrual. Right. On a cash basis, we'll probably see about 2.8 million.
Yeah,
You're
on a
right.
cash basis. But for what our budget or our actual audit report and what our real
Yeah.
amount's gonna be, our real amount will be well over 3 million. We're getting $250,000 and now it's more next 2 months, so 12 months worth. Is that January?
Well, we
1st?
started January 1st.
Right,
So the
January.
first amount received was in April. So
Right,
you-
but that's the January month amount on an accrual basis.
Right.
So we will have, whatever, 10 months, 11 months.
about 10 months, yeah.
Because that's the thing that's gonna be different. I know it's hard because we got cash and accrual on some of the
Right.
stuff, but accrual is what our actual real number will be. That's what our,
For reporting purposes, right.
yeah.
99% of our budget is on a cash basis.
Right.
Except for,
And a real picture of what your health of your financials are is on an accrual basis. That's
Right.
your real picture. And then the last thing,
Your mic, right?
you did a nice one on the income tax that I got because I asked for it last month.
Yeah.
But it was the Excel one. You can see the month to month. So the bar chart here, you can't see month to
oh,
month.
you want to see the chart?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we can do
helpful when
that.
you get the month to month, so you can see each month actual from last year to this year.
Sure.
And you can see where the, increases come in. And, I can tell you just, IMRF is the number you have to use. They work with the Department of Revenue. They give us a per capita person.
You mean IML?
IML.
Yeah.
They give us that number. That's what we have to kind of use. And I can tell you just as a tax preparer, I could see all the people that owed last year because of a lot of stock sales and a lot of distribution on mutual funds. So I can see why the tax rate or taxes collected was way up as it started coming in. So, we have to use, I think, that number, but like you said, I projected, we talked 17 million versus what we budgeted. So
Right.
we're going to be 6 million over just on the income tax.
Yeah, IML has historically been very conservative with their projections. And I think during the budget process, we're losing some money.
But yeah, you just don't know what people are going to owe in taxes the next year. So
Right.
it's hard to determine. They do work with the Department of Revenue on that number. So. I just want this one in Excel like the other ones.
There'll be a quiz afterwards on the difference between cash and accrual accounting. I try to stay away from those terms. Okay, so there's no other questions on income tax. We'll look at the really good news, and that's our projected income statement for 22. So on this chart, obviously, we break it down on top revenues and our expenditures by category for the entire general fund. Fiscal 21 actual, 22 year to date, our adopted and current budget. And then we came up with a projection for fiscal year 22. Somewhat difficult at this point. So we're at the 6-month mark. But if you look at some of our revenues on the revenue side, we've talked about, we are projecting to generate $232.2 million, which is about $12 million over budget. And that is because primarily of the revenue sources that I've talked about. There are some other things that are going on. The real estate transfer tax, we're seeing $460,000 a month being generated. Whether that holds up or not with interest rates, I'm not sure, but that's generated a lot of good money. What's that? Yes, I'm sorry. I was off there, 12. So revenue should be about 22 million over budget. On the expenditure side, we've talked a little bit about this for the last couple of years, in particular personnel. You can see that our budget is 154.2 million. We're projecting to be at 146.3 million. To date, we're 46.39% of the budget, and that's for 6 months. So we're about halfway there. Obviously, we should be at 50%, but we're about 5% under budget for our largest expenditure source. So that is a function of, trying to, our head count. We have a lot of head count currently that we're having trouble hiring. Bad for the departments, good for our income statement. So we probably will finish significantly under budget and personnel. So the other categories under expenditures, commodities, contractual capital, other financing uses, which are transfers. I don't have in the department projections right now for where they think they're going to be for FY '22. So what I did was I just took the budgeted amount and carried that forward into a projection for '22. But as you can see, our total expenditures will be $202.1 million. So you take the revenues less the expenditures, we think we're going to have a surplus of about $30 million. And that could be higher or a little bit lower, depending on, you know, the next 6 months where the economy is, where hiring is at, things like that. So all in all, right now, we're in really good shape. So if I carry this through to our balance sheet and look at our fund balance of the general fund, next slide. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead,
I
Member
had one
Krajewski.
question on this slide. You mentioned about the, we're halfway through June 30th or May 30th.
May
We're
30th,
halfway
yeah.
through for the expenses. You know, but on the revenue one, you go to the 6-month column and we got 88 million. You know, if you happen to double that, that's 170 something. But it's way off because that sales tax number you got in there, that 53 million. That's only 5 months of sales tax. It's from your first slide.
But I projected it on a cash basis.
I don't know, but I'm saying if I'm looking at 6 months, I've collected for 6 months, we collected 6 months of sales tax. So that number 53 is really more like 65 million. So with, I'm just looking at 6-month numbers, I like to see where I'm at halfway through the year. And so sales tax halfway through the year is about 65 million. And it's way off if I'm looking, we're only at 88.
That's because we report on that accrual basis. And but for this projection, I'm reporting on where I think we're going to be for 12
Well, no,
months.
the right column is fine.
Right.
But that second column is not. The second column's got 88 million for 6 months. It's not right because the 53 million is for 5 months. That's for your top slide that has
Right.
January through. It doesn't have the December number in there, which
They're more revenue, right?
would be more revenue. And as I said, I like 6-month comparisons because that's halfway through the year. You can compare it to budget and stuff. But when I saw that number, I was like, why is it so low? And then I had to go figure it out. The sales tax is only 5 months worth.
You're saying 83, I'm seeing 53.
80, your revenue, second column, total revenue is 88 million. Total for all the revenue, 88, right? See that?
Oh, yeah,
88. And so.
right, to
you know,
date,
If I
right.
double that.
Because sales tax is only.
But then if I go up to the 53 sales tax, that's 5 months.
Right.
It's not 6 months, and we're 6 months through the year.
But if I send out a sales tax report, because we've approved somewhere along the line to do it on an accrual basis, we'll be off. So if I do the projection through FY '22, I'm projecting on 12 months
But how do you generate that second column?
through our financial reports.
But that 53 million is only 5 months. So I don't know how you do a financial report that only has 5 months when you're 6 months through the
They're
year.
accruing back each month.
Yeah, but we're missing a month.
It's because we're only through May,
Well, but our fiscal year starts December 1st, so that's 6 months.
right,
But that's only 5 months in there.
right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how a financial system generates a 6-month report with 5 months in it.
Because sales tax is 3 months behind too.
I understand.
I would love to do this on a cash basis.
Well,
And I'd love the direction from the committee is to, on a monthly basis, do everything on a cash basis. And
That's
don't worry
fine.
about the approvals.
That's fine. I just, when you got half a cash, half accrual, it makes for an accountant, it makes it confusing.
Right.
I
It
mean, I
does.
got 5 months of stuff in there and it should be 6.
I agree.
So, but maybe that's something we could work on.
Somewhere along the line, there was a direction to do sales tax and income tax on an accrual basis on a monthly reporting. So why don't we work internally to do mostly everything on a cash basis and then true up our books at the end of the fiscal year.
I don't care. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I think we could talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have, Brian, we can have a meeting to talk about that. Okay.
Okay, so our fund balance. The blue bars represent where our expenditures are from going back to 2018 all the way through our projection to 2022. The orange bars, the fund balance, represents where our audited fund balance are for each of the years going back to 2018 with a projection for fiscal 22, which shows our fund balance at 128.8 million. The farthest bar is on the right. So the percentage of fund balance compared to our expenditures we are projecting for 22, based upon our $30 million in surplus, to have a fund balance of 63.73%. It's very robust. Last year, we wound up at 42.59%, and that is only because, remember all the one-time expenses that we did. We did voting machines, we did property tax software, we paid off bonds, things like that. So we did a lot of one-time expenditures in 2022, bringing that fund balance down a little bit, but staying where we were in 2020, which was 98 million. So all in all, we're in really good shape. I think we have some decisions to make on how far up we want that ending fund balance to go throughout the next 6 months. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of good ideas for you. The last slide, what we wanted to do is just kind of give you an update of some of the changes that you'll see in committees for the Department 23 budget proposals. So we have budgeted for many expenses in one holding account, if you will, an accounting unit. It's commonly known as 1180. This year we're proposing, and we've told the departments to break that out. And those are expenses such as office supplies, notary publics, postage, FedEx, employee anniversary rewards, printing charges, vehicle repairs and gasoline. So it's budget neutral, meaning that the expenses in that holding account 1180 will go down, but you'll see the department expenses actually go up. But in those departments, you're seeing the true cost of what it takes to run those departments. We met with the sheriff. We had a good discussion about this, especially for like repairs and vehicle, or I'm sorry, gasoline. And I think after our conversation, he was on board with it because you can really see what those true costs are to run in the department. So just be forewarned that you might see some of those line items go up a little bit, but we can kind of walk everyone through at the committee level on why that is.
Member Tornatori.
So then if I understand this, some of these expenses that were not itemized within departments are now going to be itemized within those departments, which means I'm presuming that if they want to stay where they were last year, they're going to ask for more money. Their expenses are going to be higher.
They will, yes. They will.
Member Desart.
And why was that change made? What was the thought process on that?
To show what the true cost of running that department is. For example, I'll use the sheriff again. They use a lot of fuel and a lot of vehicle repairs, but those are charged to one accounting unit. Or actually one department. It's called 1180 special accounts.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I don't know why we didn't do it this way before.
Yeah, that's been kind of our goal, is to really try to shift a lot of these expenses that were grossed up in an accounting unit and put those into the departments.
Member Zay.
Thank you. So Jeff, what's basically going to happen, it's going to be neutral because those departments are going to ask for those numbers. That's always been picked up by the general fund.
Right.
Special revenue.
Absolutely. It's all budget neutral. They should note that. They've been told to note that in their budget worksheets and during their presentations.
Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, a lot of good news, but I think we got to look at paying down debt, we got pension debt. But, I'm just concerned because we've got money, but I know we're having problems in the supply chain.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff hasn't come in. Trucks, plows, squad cars, computer equipment, everything like that. So, at some point it's going to catch up to us, right? I mean, that money's going to be spent at that point. I mean,
Yeah, what
I
I
just
would,
don't want everybody to think we got all this money, we just go out and spend it, because there's also another reason why we have it. It's because inflation's up. We add 10% to everything.
right,
I mean, it's costing our people sales tax up because everything costs more. So I mean, that's kind of the answer. But again, we do have extra revenue. We just have to be leery of what's going on in the economy right now, because we don't want to go crazy. And then in 6 months, we could be in a recession, and then we're,
right.
looking for.
What I would recommend is that we come back in 3 months, again, look at these numbers. see where we're at, and then maybe make some decisions on, if we're still over by 30 million, what we want to do with that, pay off debt. I know we've got the judicial annex that we still need to fund a portion of that. We might also want to add to fund balance, just because who knows where fuel prices will be, and who knows where inflation will be in just 6 months. So I think these next 6 months will be very telling. It is, you can feel it kind of changing.
Well, we have to do something, because then if we start having a huge balance, we're gonna start getting, people that are gonna challenge that, tax
Right.
challenges at that point, and then,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a good place to be, a bad place to be, so we just have to make
Exactly.
sure what we're gonna do.
Right, we have to find the right balance.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I have member Pachowski and then member Tornatori.
I'm concerned of our headcount need. We have all these cash reserves. Jim mentioned, it's gonna be inflation, but we're not offering enough? I mean, all this money is basically because of the inflationary cost of everything. And then we're gonna have to offer more money to get new people in. So, it looks good now, but I think inevitably it's gonna crash because of the high cost of what we have to do to keep retaining employees and the high cost of goods. It's gonna eat it all up. So I don't see this being a big win for us. It's just a matter of time before everything catches up to it.
The headcount is an issue. It's an issue for every department. I know we haven't cut any headcount. In fact, we've funded what we think that we should fill based on the 22 budget, but as we rolled into 23 or I'm sorry, into this year's budget, we're still having trouble finding
Everybody is.
positions.
I'd like to know where you go to get a paralegal or a receptionist, because they're not out there. And now we're trying to get skilled people. And it's just, when somebody comes in, the amount of money that is being offered is, well above what we used to pay, 20–30%.
Yeah. And, it's not just DuPage County. We saw, the article just came out about McHenry County too. I mean, so all the counties are struggling with keeping employees, having salaries that keep our employees employed here. So it's an issue throughout government, I think, that we're dealing with right now. So we're going to definitely have to address that, I think, this budget cycle. Yeah. Member Tornatori and then member Ozog.
To that end, my question was, do we know how much of our budget surplus is related to our lack of having our head count where it should be? I mean, I know that we're down people. Everybody you talk to, we need to hire more people. We can't find them. Is there a way to equate that number, put a dollar figure to it, and see how that fits into the budget surplus? If you don't know, I'm just curious because that's another thing that's going to eat into our surplus when we do find people and begin to hire them again.
If you could flip back to the income statement, if you don't mind. Maybe real quickly, one more slide back. Under the line personnel, you can see that we're $8 million under budget. On the far right, 2022 projected 146.3, and our budget is 154.2. So when we look at personnel and not filling these positions, it's coming out to about $8 million. And then when you couple that with revenues being way over budget, that's primarily how you generate that surplus.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have member Ozog, member Schwarzy, and then member Renahan. Go ahead, member Ozog.
In a sort of related question to that, can you just out of budgeted number of positions, can you give a ballpark of what's not filled right now, a percentage, but a ballpark?
Sure, we track that monthly. Jennifer, off the top of your head. It's easily over 100 positions. It could be in the 200 range.
Okay.
We could get that.
Member
for you.
Ozog, are you?
We could get that for you. real
Okay,
quickly.
that's fine. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Member Schwarzy?
There we go. This is more of a comment than a question, but we're talking about head counts and making sure we can get people hired. But we currently have at least one union group that's been without a contract for 3 years. And we need to make sure we're also taking care of the people that have been dedicated and working for us for a long time. And 3 years is unacceptable to be going that long without a contract.
Can I respond as chairman of ad hoc?
Yes.
The reason for that is how many bargaining meetings have they canceled that they haven't showed up to? So I think the issue is let's get the information out there and let them know what we're doing, because we've had a ton of meetings on this and we try to negotiate and they canceled 8 meetings in a row. So it seems to me that's a two-way street.
Members,
And I'm not disagreeing, Member Polchowski, but with that being said, let's move forward. Let's get this done. And let's make sure we're taking care of our own people that have been dedicated
Yeah,
to us.
we bargain in good faith, and if the other side doesn't, and there's a reason for it, and there's a motive for it, I don't want the employees to think that it's not us that's doing it.
thank you both. And yes, and that's collective bargaining discussions that, yeah. Also, we have Member Renahan. Oh, and then Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jeff, for coming in, discussing this today. I just wanted to bring up, it is good news, $30 million, but I agree with some of my colleagues in the back row here in terms of, we need to look, some of this money has really already been allocated in the Judicial Center in particular. So I don't want anybody to walk out of here today thinking that we're, flush and, we can just do anything we want with the money. We need to continue with our fiscal responsibilities. Secondly, headcount, again, an issue very much so. As Chair of Health and Human Services, I'm very concerned about, do we have enough people to answer the phones, to get out, to do community outreach, to push the money that we are getting federal funding of our taxpayers to get the benefits they need. I've been very concerned about that. I would like this possibly our finance committee to do some study of that. And thirdly, just a request of the finance department. In judicial public safety, we have had discussion about the high number of budget transfers. And I think going forward, I think that's something that needs to be addressed because there's just so much money going from here to here to here. It just seems that there needs to be a little bit more control. I know some of these budgets are high, in particular with the sheriff, but I think it's also disheartening when we have to approve budget transfer after budget transfer. It's somewhat of a waste of time of the committees because we don't have a lot of control of what they do. But I would like to see that tightened up.
Yeah, thank you, Member. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We can definitely look at that going from line item transfers to category transfers and just propose those. But we'd have to change our financial policies and our board rules, but be more than happy to look at that.
And, can that be addressed in our budget? If we look at what, if we continually seeing budget transfers from one item to another, maybe as we go through our budget, we can allocate that money that it's being transferred from to that account. Do you see what I'm saying? So maybe we can kind of deal with that a little bit in our budget process as well. I think we need to go through those transfers and see where it's being transferred from and put it in the proper category. So thank you for bringing that up. And also just with the employees too, it's so important because if we're short-staffed and we're not paying our employees an adequate salary, that really is very stressful for them. So I think if, we can make hiring a priority and looking at some of these wages, that's going to help the county tremendously. So something to think about as we're going through the budget process as well. Member Krajewski.
Thank you.
Oh, then Member LaPlante, did you want to speak after?
I agree 100% with Member Renahan. And we're gonna probably see that because you got these 100 open positions and these elected officials are their own silos and they got a lot of extra money in their budgets now, so they've been moving it left and right. I don't know how you address that, but.
Well, I can answer that. So very quickly, last year we identified this issue and we didn't cut any headcount, but we didn't fully fund all those headcounts. And
I
we
understand
put
it's
them in
in
a
contingency, and
right.
I understand that. And just, from a more broader perspective, majority of this surplus, at least 20 million, is sales tax related.
Right.
And it's with the level of playing field, the Wafer Supreme Court case. And that kicked in and nobody really knew the magnitude of the uncollected sales tax. So that is going to be the new normal. Now, if we have a recession, et cetera, it'll go down, but it's not going to go down below pre-COVID numbers. So, I mean, it's basically a new revenue source. So we just need to be careful going forward. We don't, as they may point out, we just don't spend it all, but we need to grow into it. Because this county has no ability, we're not home rule, we have no ability to put any taxes in. So we rely on real estate taxes, sales tax, and, you know, you go back, predate my time, but there was a problem. You give 2% COLAs every year, we can't keep up with it. Springfield put in the RTA tax, and that generated, now it's whatever, 50-some million dollars, but now the county kind of grew into that. And we were struggling a few years, last few years before COVID, just trying to keep up with cost of living, et cetera. Now Wayford kicked in and level playing field, we have this new revenue source, and it's large, and it's going to continue to be that way, but we just got to be careful we don't overspending, but we at least have several years, I think, to grow into it, make sure we get the people hired, compensate the people, you know, keep good people here. We have that ability to do it. So it's the majority of this money is from, and same with last year, was the sales tax.
Thank you, Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante, did you have a question?
Yeah, more of a comment really, just to say that we did address the employee salaries and we did increase them. We do need to watch that completely. We also have to make sure that there are certain things, yes, we have to make sure that the pay is correct and respectful and what our staff deserves. We also have to make sure that we are providing an environment that is respectful and that people want to work in. And we have to make sure that we treat our staff with dignity, because that's another reason why they would leave. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And we do, Member Krajewski and I did ask for the a range of all of our salaries, what our starting point is, what our midpoint is, and what our high point is for ranges. We have some salaries that are listed at $22,600. That's not minimum wage. So we have to do a lot of work here and go through that and make sure that we are at least paying, and our jobs are posted at least minimum wage, and make sure that we are paying our employees and make sure that we have fully staffed so that our employees are not stressed out. So thank you for the comments. Member Eckhoff.
Mr. Krajewski referenced the wafer tax revenue that we're going to receive. Is there any tax revenue that we're receiving now that's going to go away from federal COVID relief or anything like that?
No. The state just passed their budget and we remain neutral as far as the revenues.
They're not going to sweep any funds that are earmarked for us.
That wasn't in the state budget proposal, as in prior years.
You never know. Then usually the general accounting practice is to keep about 25% of the operating budget in, which would only be about 50 million.
Right.
So I think Mr. Krajewski was referencing what happened 10 years ago or so. I think we're running a little bit low, like at 25 million for that. And that's why we ran into the problem. So would you say going long-term, going forward, we should keep a balance in there, surplus of 50, 60 million?
Oh, at a minimum, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But what would be the maximum? Because my thought is we're at 100 million or whatever. At some point, you got to spend that down. Otherwise, people are running around saying your taxes are too high and you need to cut the tax.
Yeah, because we're a high sales tax producing county and that's volatile, a maximum would be probably, in my opinion, about 45%. I think that's a pretty good range to be at. And you see that in a lot of fund balance policies.
That'd be about 80, 90 million.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, Member Desart, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that some of the work has been done related to employee salaries. I know that Member Krajewski and I went through line item with a study and data and made equity adjustments in the Animal Services Department and increased many of the salaries. Some we kept the same, but that work has already been done. And I know the Sheriff's Office has also done equity adjustments. So that work has started already, but we just need to continue it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any Member Krajewski?
I'm just saying, just feel that staff is working currently on this upcoming budget, and they're gonna be coming with presentations and recommendations to us as a board for regarding potential cost of living raises, what we do for the employees for the next year's budget. Several communities and counties, they've already gathered data. A lot of them are giving a lot more than the 2%. Maybe it's a tiered one, lower income get more than the higher ones, but we're going to be looking at something in a couple of months once they get a couple more sales tax numbers, and then they'll come to us and let us make a decision on what we want to tell the people to put in their budgets, the different departments for cost of living, adjustments. Typically it's always been like a 2%, but I don't think anyone you've surveyed, Nick, has been at 2 or lower. It's all been above 2. Yeah, so, we're gonna have a bunch of different recommendations. Staff's working on what the cost of that's gonna be every 1% or whatever we do. So then we can make a policy decision on what we would like to give in this coming up budgets 23 direction as far as what the percentages are. Or even, I think Nick talked about sometimes maybe a one-time stipend plus the cost of living, but there'll be different options for us to make a decision on. They'll have more detail for us, but I think it was like 2 months, Nick. And that'll let us have more sales tax numbers to see if we're still on what our budget's gonna be, but that is coming. Let everybody know.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been pushing for years, we should look at that, but we should also set a limit at where it is and do an equity adjustment for our lower paying employees. If it's 80,000, 100,000, and give them like a $2,500 equity adjustment. Obviously with gas costs and more, price of food affects them more than anybody else in our higher paid employees. So we need to make sure we take care of that and do something above and beyond instead of our people who say 100,000, 2% for them is a lot more than 2% for somebody who's making 35,000. So, to do something like that.
Yes.
To help them at this time, when we have the money, I think should be looked at.
Yes, I think, you know what, I think a lot of us are on the same page here. So it's very good to hear that we're all on board with that and on the same page, because it's very important. And everybody's working very hard here. Our human resource staff, everybody is doing the best job that they can do with the people that they have. So, and we just have to help them by, if we can increase the pay a little bit and, benefits we might need to look at. So I think everything is going to be on the table. So any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much, Jeff. This is very helpful. I really like the idea that every quarter, we talked to you, came in March and did a good presentation. We're having this one, then in 3 months, hope to see another one. I think it's very helpful for the committee as well. So thank you. All right, great. Thank you. So with that, we move on to our DuPage County Travel, Tourism, and Hospitality Economic Recovery Initiative. And I welcome Beth Marchetti. Oh, wait. Oh, yes. No, go ahead. Gotta have public comment, but no, that's after this.
Public comment after. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Beth Marchetti, Executive Director of the DuPage Convention Bureau. I really thought public comment was before this presentation. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the folks in the audience. And if you would please stand. We have an elected official here, Alderman Bob Rada from the City of Oak Brook Terrace, Evan Walter, Village Manager from Burr Ridge, Nathan Karsten, who represents 3 full-service hotels in DuPage County from Bianca. We have Matt Hennef from Doubletree Downers Grove. We have Tanya Paravano, who is a small business owner from Andrews Garden in Wheaton. We have General Manager Kim Myers from the Westin Lombard, which is our version of McCormick Place, the largest hotel in DuPage County with 500 rooms. We have Brooke DeLucio from Residence Inn Oak Brook. We have Tammy Rogers and Oksana Costo from the Fairfield Inn Lombard. We have Neville Campbell, whose company represents 4 hotels in DuPage County, the Vianca Group. We also have David Gould from Embassy Suites Naperville and the General Manager Jeff Faust from the Embassy Suites Naperville. So we have a nice representation of our hotel properties and some of the small business owners here today. Today is a very important day, obviously, for many, many reasons. I have control of this, I think. It's kind of ironic that I'm here today on our primary day. So hopefully we can get some things done in this room today. So some of this you probably have seen before. Illinois has been one of the hardest hit states in the country because we are such a meeting group focused state, with McCormick Place being the largest convention center in the country and Some of the data from US Travel shows that the metro areas and big suburban areas like Chicago have been hit very hard. So kudos to our hotels. I know we've talked a lot about our restaurants and other supports that we can provide. The restaurants were able to pivot and do curbside dining. Guess what? Our hotels could not phone it in. They were there every single day, putting their lives at risk, welcoming the very small number of guests that were coming in and working round the clock. There would be many more people in this room today, and I've said this before. One of my board members has worked overnight tonight. They're working the front desk. They're cleaning rooms. They're actually having to take rooms out of inventory to get those other rooms ready for welcoming our guests. So thank you for all your commitments to that. So today, again, after listening to you for the last 18 months, my ask was very large. I was told that there was sticker shock, so we came down, and then that request included some fees that would cover sports bid fees and incentives for our hotels. We came down again, and here are the 3 items that I'm asking for today. A $2 million grant relief program for our hotels, a Choose DuPage TVB marketing program for $750,000. And just like Mr. Bedeloff is doing the Northern Illinois Economic Development program with the 7 collar counties, we too are doing a 7 collar county tourism program that was facilitated by Cmap, Chicago Metropolitan and Planning Agency. So that's been a small amount of money, but that would allow us to continue that regional program for 2 more years, or excuse me, 2 more seasons. So for a total of $2.8 million. Obviously the goals are listed. Obviously it's to help our hotel properties and all the other small businesses and the restaurants. When you put people in the hotels, you generate more tax and sales tax in every avenue. So when we're talking about how we can increase that sales tax, you got to bring visitors here. Bottom line, 4 million people stayed in our hotels in 2019. They all spent money in our restaurants and our gas stations and at Target and in our restaurants and so forth, our museums. I did talk a little bit about this program. All DuPage hotels would be eligible, including, I've already reached out to Aurora. They have 3 hotels. Even though they have their own convention bureau, there are 3 hotels in Aurora that are in DuPage County. We also have the Naperville hotels who are represented today, so they would all be eligible as well. We've worked very closely with the finance team, the staff here at the county. Tourism is spelled out in the ARPA regulations as an eligible expense. So after working through different variations of our grant program, we made it very simple. It was included in the board packet with the white paper. So to answer questions on that, there is every ARPA requires that you have some sort of application process. And on the back of the application process was about 8 questions that the hotels would have to attest to. So it's a pretty easy application. I did work with finance, like I said, and it is eligible. We would be conducting countywide communication. We would be hosting 2 training sessions for our hotel properties. We would be recording them on Zoom, so anybody that couldn't participate would be able to listen. We would create a landing page and that fillable form. Those applications would be collected. We would be submitting them to finance. We would do check requests or whatever the rules that Jeff tells me to do. And then this county would write the checks to the hotels. We have the relationships with the hotels. That's why we wanted to run this program. I have been asked, why a large administration fee? We were told to just put in up to 10%, but we would be submitting for reimbursement for actual expenses, staff time, and materials. So we had to come up with a number. That was the number, but we don't know that necessarily that we would hit that. And in fact, I don't think we would. The hotels, everyone was open in 2019. We have the list from the Illinois Department of Revenue. We did have hotels that closed during the pandemic. Everyone has reopened. There is one hotel that did convert to a PADS shelter. So we're down a little bit. But I think, we really need to help this industry. It's a long time in coming. Ooh, I didn't get to that one. I'm so sorry. That's what I just talked about. Second program would be similar to what we did in 2020, which was a marketing program with Choose DuPage. Now you have to remember, we have different audiences. We are speaking to out-of-state people trying to get them to spend the night in our hotels. They are meeting planners, they are sports rights holders, and they are leisure guests. So we want to say that we're open for business. We're open for you to come visit our great spaces outdoors. But then we would also be working in tandem so that there's a really cohesive brand to talk about, that DuPage is also a great place to live and to relocate your business. I have shown you this slide before. Again, our state grant requires that we go at least outside a 50-mile radius. So we would be hitting a really densely populated area, which would have a large sample size for us to hit. And I know our hotels who are directors of sales and marketing would be helping us with some of the placements that we want to do for this program. Ooh, jumped ahead. And then this is just a sample of the Cmap program that we talked about. I called it the Cmap program just because I thought, you know, most people would know what I was talking about with that. We first launched The Only Thing Missing Is You with all of our partners. Ran May 3rd through September 6th, 2021. We want to continue this program. This is the next, this was just some of the samples of the program that we did for $25,000, which is a really affordable digital buy. I'm glad to say that for the summer 2022, we were able to do this program again. That lovely picture of the Morton Arboretum was selected as the hero image of the program. So DuPage is well represented. And then you can see here just from some of the other things that we were promoting. We did Rib Fest, you know, Oak Brook Polo, and different items that would really draw people out that are different events. So there's hero images on big things to see and do, and then there's actual events, because we know Governor Pritzker did a lot of $10 million festivals and events grant, which is how I helped Alabrejas get here at Cantini. We will continue to support those events in any way, shape, or form we can. In the budget, as we kind of mentioned from the governor, he did vow to also allocate another $5 million for events and festivals. So again, for the arts, for any kind of programs, sports programs that we can help bring in, we need those dollars here in DuPage. Unfortunately, because we are DuPage County, I think a lot of people think we're the land of milk and honey, and we have not been eligible for many of those grants that have been out there. My neighbor North Shore CVB has, because her office is located in Skokie, she's been able to get grants. I have talked to our state representatives and our senators that are on the tourism committee. There's not a whole lot we can do, so we really do need the support of this county board. So today, Chicago was allocated $10 million. The Cook County bureaus that we very much compete with, and I'm looking over to my hotels over there, Rosemont, the Meet Chicago Northwest, which represents Schaumburg, North Shore, which represents Northbrook, Wilmette, Winnetka, Tinley Park, the Chicago Southland, all received $10 million for the first year. So now we are competing with bureaus that have another $2.5 million. And I will say, they are actually getting a check from Cook County. We are not asking to have you give us a flood of money. We want to help our hotels with marketing and support and relief money. So wanted to focus on that. Springfield got a $1.4 million to help the state fairgrounds. The 3 bureaus also qualified for a Route 66 grant for $4 million. I'm happy to say I was working with our partners at the Heritage Corridor and managed to get a little bit of that grant money to help purchase 2 Route 66 signs. One is going to be in the village of Burr Ridge and one is going to be in the village of Willowbrook, which is along old Route 66. So that's a great coup for DuPage County, and we would welcome when we have like a ribbon cutting for that. I love our county board members there. Lake County got some money. Will County is still in process of being asked. And so again, we are DuPage County. We're the 2nd largest tourism industry in the state of Illinois. So I don't think 2.8 is, yes, it's a lot of money, but it will help our hotels. Do I think it's a meaningful amount to do $112 per hotel? No, I wish it was more. But I did ask for more. And so now here we are again asking for that. 500 room nights at $112 is going to help significantly for Mr. Myers over there. So many of our communities have contributed money for ARPA. Many communities have already been working with our matching grant program for many, many years, since 2016. So here we are. I hope that you really consider this. We've helped a lot of people in Illinois, and it's time, I think, to help our hotel industry. So thank you, and I'm very willing to answer questions. I will say, if any of my hotel partners want to stand up, if that's okay with the board, I think usually I'll address those questions, but maybe they'll address a little bit at the end of the in public comment. So.
Thank you, Beth. I have Member Covert, Member Desart, Member LaPlante, Member Garcia, and Member Tornatore. Go ahead, Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Beth, for coming down here today and presenting. That was a wonderful presentation. So I represent District 5, and we have about 3,300 rooms in our district. We have part of Aurora, we have Naperville, and we have a little bit of Lisle. And you know, I'm really I love our hotel industry. You know, they really have been hurting, and I just want to make sure, you know, that everybody's properly represented. I really like the idea of $112 per room. I understand that this is the money that we have, $2.8 million. Out of it, $2 million will be given to hotels. I just had a few questions. I wanted to know, one of the goals, you know, a couple of questions. I didn't quite see the portal or what the questions would look like for hotels when they do apply. Is there a way that you could pull that up? Or I don't think I received it in the slides or the email.
I don't have it with me, but I will tell you, we really want it to go on the property level. So the questions the first part of the application is the property level, the name, address. The back is, are you in DuPage County? That's the first question. The second question is, will you use this for relief, you know, ARPA eligible projects? Transportation, a lot of the hotels had to sell off their shuttles if they can't find drivers. There were about 8 questions in the packet. I'm sorry, I don't have that with me. I thought that did get disseminated to all the county board members. It's a pretty application. It is state eligible. I ran that by the State Association, the Illinois Hotel and Lodging Association. So I'm very comfortable with that application. I also ran it by staff and finance, and I think they have a comfort level in that application as well.
Okay, but there's no questions about, you know, to qualify, the criteria of it is that you have to provide any personal information about the hotel, or like leads or anything like that, or clientele lists or anything like that.
So in our matching grant program that we have, and I'm going to step away from ARPA for a moment. We have a program. So if a hotel said, I need $2,000, we would put in $1,000 for transportation. I'm going to use that example again. We would put in $1,000, and I would call manager Walter over there, and I said, hey, this is a Burr Ridge property that needs this piece of business. Would you be willing to put in $1,000? So to your point, we would not give that money out until the hotel provided us a rooming list that group indeed did come. We did talk about that at the finance with the finance staff. They felt that was a little labor intensive for all of us, including staff. And so in economic development, we said, let's just get the money into the hands of the people that need it.
What are the actual guidelines?
It's on the back of the, they attest that they're going to use it for tourism, recovery, ARPA eligible projects. So the guidelines are, they're a little bit more flexible for tourism because it's all eligible for tourism. Does that make sense?
A little bit. I'm just trying to get an idea of, I think it would really help if, you know, I had an opportunity to look at the form, you know, and see what the application looks like.
Okay.
my other question was the goal, one of the goals was to execute leisure, cultural and recreational visitor strategies.
I'm
What-
sorry. I
One of the
was-
goals stated in your slides was to execute leisure, cultural and recreational visitor strategies. What does that mean
So
and
we
by
would-
whom?
Sure. We've been working with the marketing department, probably with Macklin at this time
Mhm.
to talk about how this program can not only help the hotels with the relief money, but then also making sure that we're driving traffic to our downtown communities, helping small businesses, really working on geofencing, so that we can make sure that we can track that. We have a new near data system that's tracking your cell phone. So if I have an event, sorry, everyone's doing it. If I have an event, and I showed this at economic development, we had that big cycling event at Cantini. A half an hour after the event, I'm able to show all the blue dots where everybody has gone all over the county. So it is countywide impact. So again, just trying to help as many people as possible. And that's what tourism bureaus do. It's, yes, it's the hotels, but it's also helping all the different hospitality industry people. So that's what that really meant.
And it's going to be $112 per room
Correct.
for all the hotels. in
All
DuPage.
hotels in DuPage County. So we do have, some hotels and communities that happen to be across the Cook County border or happen to be in the Will County border. So again, you have to attest that you are in DuPage County.
Okay, I mean, these are all the questions I have, but I would really like to meet with you possibly later. Because I really would like to see the
Sure.
form and the
Chavez, do you
portal and
happen to
how it's
have
gonna
that?
I
look
think
like.
Cheryl went
Cheryl
to print
went-
the
yeah.
form, print the form. So she
Yeah.
went to get it now.
Perfect.
Right,
Thank you.
or
I'm
if they could, show it on screen to everybody, I mean, that would help too. It doesn't matter.
know what?
The printout's fine or on screen.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Covert. Member Dessert?
Thank you. I think when this is the obvious, stating the obvious, but I think when marketing is done well, it's really effective. And I love the Jane Lynch, Illinois tourism, spots. You've seen them, the center of everything. And Jane Lynch is from Evergreen Park, so she's from here.
She
in
went to
Illinois.
ISU.
So I just want to talk about Beth. After watching last week's or last economic development meeting, I had a bunch of questions about the presentation and I emailed Beth. And before I even hit send, she was on the phone with me to answer my questions, including the $112 per room. I asked if that was meaningful and she guaranteed that it was meaningful. My other question was about the 20% to administer, which is $200,000. And Beth said that it's up to, they're not going to use the whole $200,000. So I love Beth's passion. And I told her in the phone call that I support this program. I really wanted to say publicly that I appreciate, you had a big ask earlier that some of us had sticker shock and you came down with some, you brought that number down with some meaningful exchanges in the program. And I just appreciate that. And I appreciate your passion and I support this fully. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Dessert. Member Garcia?
You and thank you so much, Beth. I'm a huge supporter of everything you do. I mean, the events that you bring here from the one in Addison with the bowling tournament, and I know we have I think Intelligence.
Intelligence is coming back.
Come back, bike touring, and I think that's at 3 cities this year. I think you want to say.
It is, and that's been going on for a long time, and I know it's been in Downers Grove for a while, but we had possibly losing that. There's been other communities that wanted to get it. And once you start getting further out, you lose the opportunity to get those hotel stays. So that's why 3 of the 10 days are in DuPage. And we love that because then those hotel rooms stay. And I want to point out that my partners over there from hello, Tammy, and hello, they have done such an amazing job with the staff and the writers. They will, as long as those 2 are there, they will never leave that hotel property because they rolled out the red carpet. So thank you to those.
Yeah, and I
folks.
was able to attend last year and it was so well run and so well done. So I really am supportive. I guess what's a little concerning to me, and maybe you can answer some questions for me because I wasn't as good as member to start and called you, or you called me because I have questions out, but you have Cook County at $10 million, and I just wanted to know what percentage of that is going to hotels for hotel relief?
They do not want to administer a hotel grant. It's going to the Convention and Visitors Bureaus to make determinations.
So it's up to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, however they give the money out. whether
As long
it
as
be
it's
to
ARPA
hotels
eligible.
Or whether it be to hotels or whether it be to marketing. Because of course, I'm a big fan of marketing. I wish we had more money or there's more money going for marketing.
Thank you, Chair.
And, I'm just going, I just am concerned that I'm hoping that the hotels are, I know we had some problems with the business ones, that we had some businesses that didn't deserve the money, that got the money. And I'm not saying that that's not happening here, but I just hoping that with this form that I guess I'm getting now, it's actually will stop that from happening. So I just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work on this. I really do appreciate, I'm a big supporter of the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau. And so I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Garcia. Member LaPlante?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Beth. I appreciate all the work that you're doing, and I know it's been a long road. And thank you for hanging in there. To our guests today, thank you for showing up to represent your industry and our community. I am a huge believer in the fact that the old adage, you have to spend a little money to make money. I am very much in the business of driving economic development in DuPage County. And I know that the way to do that is you bring people to DuPage County, and also you keep the people who live here happy. And I'm doing my part trying to behind the arts, and I'm using that to drive economic development. Well, when we bring all these people here to DuPage County to celebrate and participate in the arts, guess what they're going to need to do? They're going to have a place to lay their head, aren't they? So we need to make sure that not only are we competitive in terms of driving economic development, but that our hotels are in fantastic shape. I know when I travel, I don't want to stay, I was just in Washington. We had to wait and wait and wait for our room to be ready because there was not enough people to clean the rooms. I also had, it was very evident that the hotel industry is still struggling. Let's just leave it at that. So we want to make sure that not only are you open, but that you're able to provide the best hospitality that you can, right? And the way you need to do that is you need support. That's what ARPA money is for. That's why we're here. I'm behind this 100%. This is a no-brainer. And if we want to really live up to our potential as a county of 1 million people, we are very well resourced. We have people who like to travel. They have the money to spend, some of them, right? And we want to draw people. This is what we need to do. I'm behind it. I have one question, and that is, do you know how much Lake County put in for in terms of their ask? I know it's not done yet, but do you have the number that they are working on?
I don't have a specific number. I know right now they only gave them $100,000 for marketing, which is not going to move the needle.
No.
I don't know what the other piece of that is. But yeah, I'm disappointed for them because you
Right.
really need some substantial money to, it's so competitive right now and it's all digital, right? It's what search words you could buy, which is why so many of our hotels have, different terms in the names of their hotels. It's all about search.
Right, correct. Well, if I would love to know that, just because we often compare ourselves with Lake County, similar population, similar budget. But I do see obviously that Will County is getting 5 million. So
They also get about $100,000 in unincorporated hotels. They have a lot more unincorporated hotels in Lake County. So they already get a bigger chunk from their county as well
okay.
in a normal year.
Okay, well, thank you very much for everything. Thanks for hanging in there. You have my support, and as do you all. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Member LaPlante. Member Tornatori?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Beth, for the presentation. I know that the hotels got hit hard during COVID. I know that without them, we would not have been able to put people up who had no place else to go when they had to be isolated. So to all of them, I thank you. And quite frankly, if you asked for $10 million and I knew it was going to the hotels because they really needed it, that wouldn't scare me as much as the 2.8 you're asking for right now. And the reason is that it appears, and especially since I've seen this now, that pretty much everybody's going to get $112 per room by asking for it. There's not really going to be, as we did with the small business application, a specific statement as to what they lost or what they need, a new roof, tables and chairs or whatever. I mean, I'm looking at these, I can check these boxes. I mean, it's not that difficult. So let's call it what it is. I'd be much more comfortable calling it what it is, which is basically a per capita distribution or per room distribution. And my concern with that is, how do we know that every hotel needs the 112? What if one hotel needs $200 a room and another one needs 50? So while I understand that this is an equitable distribution, I don't know that it necessarily gives the people what they need who have been hit hardest. I don't know that every hotel was hit equally hard. I'm sure there were differences. So that's concern number one. The other is the administration fee. I know you said you've got a relationship with the hotels, but I don't know that it's going to take very much to figure out how much somebody gets by filling out this form. It's pretty easy. So the administration fee does give me a little bit of sticker shock. I know you came down from your original $5 million ask, and I won't ask you if you're going to come back and ask for more later on. But
I left that door open
I know you did. So that's why I'm asking. So
because I think the
while I
hotel
understand
deserve
you're
it.
coming in for 2.8, again, let's put it out there that you're going to come back, presumably based on what you've told us indirectly and indirectly for more money. And again, this isn't about taking money away from the hotels. I think they deserve relief. They need relief. I just want to get as many dollars to the people who need it the most as possible. And my last question is, out of that $750,000 marketing program, how does that compare to your marketing program pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic, I have about $200,000 in marketing.
So are you saying that this ask is $550,000 more than it was in 2019?
I am, because we need to be out there. You're seeing travel ads all over the place. We need to be competitive. Galena's got a $3 million marketing budget in a normal year.
Okay, well, and again, I am not.
I'm being transparent. I'm telling you my numbers.
I appreciate your honesty. And I'm just trying to figure out again, how to get the most money to the hotels who need it. And if we're spending almost 3 times what the marketing budget was pre-COVID, is it simply driven because Galena is spending more money than they did in 2019? I mean, I guess there's got to be some realistic connection between how much you're asking for and what you're going to be doing.
May I answer the questions? So a couple things. So we worked with an agency. We don't have an agency. We don't have a Macklin like Choose DuPage does, but we did hire an agency to help us kind of gauge what we needed to do, like that regional approach. And that was a very strategic amount of dollars to hit that many people. We needed that much money. I would have loved to even gone broader and gone further out, but that's what we could, that's what that money was able to do. Please remember too, that some of that is going to go to Choose DuPage in a joint branded program. I'm trying to think of your other questions. In terms of, and I bet there are some economic development people could also pipe in. We talked about doing different grant programs. We've talked about, you know, I know the last grant program was how much people lost. I was told several times to get this out, get it in the easiest way to our hotels that needed it the most. This was rescue money that probably should have been distributed last year. The good news is it complements the Illinois Hotel and Lodging Association's program that's going to give money for payroll, so that my program is helping with recovery efforts. So I get what you're saying, but I also think we had to get it out in a fair and equitable way, which was a set amount of money per hotel room.
And of all of my questions or concerns, getting it out at 112 a room or however you figured it out is probably the least of my concerns, because at least it's going to the hotels. And that's where I want to see the money go. Quite honestly, I like that to be higher, and the marketing aspect and the sales aspect reduced a little bit, because while I do know that you got to get, people in the beds and fannies in the seats, there's a lot of people out there who are hurting. So I've got some concern about the administration, and I've got some concern about a marketing program is 3 times what it was a couple of years ago. I mean, that's that. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I just have some questions.
I'm delighted to say that I am one of 2 bureaus in the entire state of Illinois that is getting exactly what I got last year, because we are so overcapped. So I do receive my cap amount from the state. So my staff spends a lot of time spending that $1.5 million that we get. Chairman Cronin actually tried to help us raise the cap because we are DuPage County. We're larger in hotel rooms than Indianapolis. And I know I keep saying that. Yes, we're a county, not a city, but I'm talking about Indianapolis Metro with Grand Park, which is a huge new sports complex. So the administration isn't just to administer a grant program. It is to administer the marketing, the Cmap program that I spend an exorbitant amount of time on those meetings. So it's all of that, not just administering a grant. So I wanted to make sure that that's where I pop that money out, but it's all those other time things that come into
And
it.
you're going to be hiring a marketing company to do this?
I believe with Choose DuPage, we would probably be using the Macklin Group again.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Did I answer your questions?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I have member Rutledge, member Chavez, member Ozag, member Krajewski, and then member Cofer again. Let me get member Renahan in there. Member Zay, did you have a question too? Okay, so I'm gonna read the list again. So I have Rutledge, Chavez, Ozag, Krajewski, Renahan, and then Cofer. Okay, so member Rutledge, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair Chaplin, and thanks, Beth, for coming this morning. I just want to go on the record to say that I supported your much bigger asks, because as a small business owner, I understand that if people don't know you're there, they can't come and spend money with you. And I do believe that yes, you spent 200,000 on marketing pre-pandemic.
That's all I
But
had.
This is just a whole different scenario that we have to remind people that DuPage is open and we're welcoming their families and tax dollars and all of the things that come with that. So again, I supported a much bigger ask for this because I understand that marketing, you've got to put it out there for people to come. And so I think that the return on those dollars is the more important thing for us to focus on. So again, support your efforts. And if anybody wants to ask for a little bit more for that plan for you, I would be fully in support of that as well. Thank you.
To that end, really quickly, Board Member Tornatore, may I also say $200,000 is actually the media buy. That doesn't include the face-to-face meeting. That means the salespeople going to the trade shows, the site visits that we bring in. I mean, there's all of those other pieces. So it's $200,000 is actually the small digital media buy, which is, the buy. But then there's all the other marketing efforts and sales efforts that cost dollars. So I maybe didn't answer that question correctly. So there's a lot more marketing that we're doing.
Thank you, member Rutledge. Member Chavez.
May I respectfully ask to go at the end of questions as chair of the committee? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Member Ozag.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a couple of questions. In terms of duration of spending this money, can I assume under 12 months?
Yes.
You're looking at probably 1 year period.
The first year.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, just from general, what our experience has been with DuPage administering these grants, et cetera, I would be more comfortable to see a predicted administration cost of 5% of what we're possibly offering. I understand you were going to do it on an ongoing basis, but that would just be more comfortable to me in terms of what we've seen in the past for administration. And also, I think in reference to Member Torrentori's remarks, I'm looking here at item 6, incurred expenses or lost revenue, the COVID. Would it be possible, and this is an idea where we could rank the percentage or the impact of loss? Say they show their 2021 and 2022 just their profit loss statements or something to that effect. Not a really detailed, but just to show the impact from 21 and 20 and 21. Obviously, we want to start doing this year, so 2022 wouldn't really be available. But to show the real impact, and it may be different, and I think it might be a little bit more equitable, which I think is what Member Torrentori is looking for in terms of how very impacted, if it's worth looking at. And I understand the impact is huge across the board, but maybe we are able to then prioritize business or various hotels that may have been hit harder or may have actually shut down for longer periods. Some quantification of that is what I'd be looking for.
That's a great question, and I might even let one of the hotels speak on that during public comment. The issue with that is you have an ownership group, you have a management group, and you have the hotel property. So there was a lawsuit, I believe, for all the attorneys in the room in Massachusetts, that someone filled out the tax forms for the property, and then the check didn't get to the right person, the right company. And so our own state association said this was the best route to go, not showing the tax forms, because you got 3 different bodies involved in that. So
I'm not looking, and I don't think we need to require that. I'm not looking for tax forms, but obviously this profit loss for each of those, let's just say for 20 and 21, would be easily available by property. And I'm not looking for documentation from the IRS or a statement of any sort.
well,
But
tax
just to-
returns was what I think we did for the Choose DuPage program, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
It
but I'm
was
not
like-
looking for that as documentation. I don't think you'd have to require that, but just to have a statement as part of this.
Oh, just
This-
another
For,
attest.
for each property, just what was your difference between 20 and 21? I think that would be the fairest. Or maybe you do 19, 20 and 21, just to report your activity at that property. And I'm not looking for tax forms, et cetera, but really just an addendum to question number 6. So it's just to make sure, as Member Torrentori was talking about, we prioritized properties that were hit the hardest. And I don't know if that breaks out into small, medium, large, et cetera, but I know the loss is very large across the board, but just in terms of maybe having a little bit more quantification as we give out this grant. Thank you. That's mine. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ozag. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. But do you know how much tax revenue Cook County collects on their hotel tax?
Millions.
Maybe
1%, they levied that
Yeah,
quite a few years
Probably
ago.
north of 100 million, and that's why they gave $10 million out. They have a big pot of money, but I'm glad we got the hotel operators here. We're in DuPage here, we're at a very competitive disadvantage. We're trying to get people to come here for leisure travel. And we're competing against all the Midwest counties that are our size, 1 million or more. Everywhere I travel, when I check into the hotel in that county and that city, I get a city tax, a county tax, and a state tax. And it's amazing how much those are. But so a lot of the counties, Matt referenced Indianapolis with their nice sports facilities, a lot of ones that we're competing against have a hotel tax. We do not have that here in the county. Your municipalities do, but we don't have a pot of money. And so we have to make sure when we're spending our money, the little that we do have, we don't have hotel tax money, that we do it very efficiently. One of the things we've done very well over the last 20 years is Choose DuPage, and the local economic development has brought good corporate headquarters here. I know the DoubleTree was represented here. I served as mayor down at Grove. We recruited a lot of corporate headquarters that came here. So the businesses, when business travel had to come to a corporate headquarters, they're not picking Indianapolis, Cleveland. They have to come here. And so the hotels were benefactor. You referenced the West End Hotel. When Downers Grove brought Dover Corporation's corporate headquarters here across the street, they go to the West End for their shareholder meetings and for their business travel. Hence now that's going to go down because of COVID, remote. So the business travel, which we did a good job of having a lot of good corporate headquarters here, that promoted that. So we're going to be losing that. So we have to make sure going forward, we're trying to recruit the leisure travel page. And I spoke to you before about, we got ARPA money. Every one of your municipalities that you sit in have ARPA money too. They got that just like we did on a per capita basis. And, I've sat here under stormwater and different programs saying that we need participation from our municipalities also. I think it's great we're giving hotels some money, but I think we need to come up with some creative programs to help attract travelers here. This board just did one with an auditorium directly that's going to benefit the Westmont area. But specifically when we went out for that meeting, brought the village of Westmont in and they contributed money as well. The bowling tournament, I know Mayor Beamster was talking about all the license plates from different states that were in restaurants, et cetera. The DoubleTrees here, they benefited as far as host hotel, but all the shoppers and the people sitting in the restaurants were all from Addison. I assume Addison probably contributed also, but if we have specific programs we could design for a municipality, your hotel, in conjunction with your municipality who's going to benefit from it. Quite frankly, all the municipalities, they make out with the hotel tax. They get the hotel tax, we don't. So we have no hotel tax. So again, I would even like to see our municipalities participate in this per hotel with their ARPA money, not their hotel tax money, but their ARPA money. They put in, and maybe we do a matching where we'll give you more if the municipality puts in and give an incentive for the municipalities to also contribute their ARPA money, not their hotel tax money, but maybe we do a two tier where you get X per room, but if your municipality puts in, we'll give you more to try to get participation from other partners to really make DuPage place for these people to come. But I don't think it should be on the shoulders of the county alone. We don't even have a hotel tax, so we have very limited dollars. So what programs we put in place, we're competing against other counties that have hotel tax money. But we do have municipalities that also got ARPA money that, as you say, in ARPA's should be used for hospitality also. So again, I would like to see as we go forward, heard Beth's coming back for something more that we look at, and Member Chavez can work through something for a committee, but some kind of program we get municipalities to participate where we can recruit or try to get people to come here to DuPage. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Krajewski. I have Member Renahan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Beth, for coming in. I admire your tenacity. You're a great advocate for your hotel. So Beth talks to all of us pretty regularly. So just know that. My question is, what's the average number of hotel rooms per hotel, just as an average? Just I'm curious.
We go from the College of DuPage's little inn, the Water's Edge, to 6 hotels, all the way to 500. I would say probably the average 120, 150. We have a lot of full service hotels that were hit hard that have 250 to 350 hotel rooms.
Okay. So there's no really average, what we kind of to kick around. Okay. And then my question, I guess my concern also is with that administrative fee. I talked about it the other day with you. To draw a distinction for the members on the committee, when we did with Choose DuPage, the CARES Act, $165,000 was spent in administrative fee to get out $21.5 million. When we did the ARPA for small businesses or DuPage County businesses, which there are about 95,000 businesses in the county, those that applied were awarded 16.35 million. The administrative fee on that was 100, like I said, 150,000. So $200,000 for a $2 million seems to me to be, it just doesn't jive with what we did last time. And that does bother me because I know there were many businesses that applied that did not meet all the requirements. And on here, this is a very simple application. This is going to be more of a hotel relief, providing out, not requiring, it's not going to be onerous on you or on our hotels. And I do think it's important to get the money out. I I'd probably feel better if you just said $2 million and then give me an extra 100,000 or something, you know, it's just kind of presented in a little bit different way. I would feel more comfortable just based on what we've done previously.
Thank you, Member Renahan. Member Covert?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last question, I promise.
That's okay.
I share the same concerns with Member Tornatore, as well as he stated earlier on the breakdown, but I guess my specific questions are, I'm really excited to get money for the hotels. I mean, it's great. And I do have to ask these questions because I really want to make sure that my hotels in my district are well represented, and they're getting everything that they need without any strings attached and and I'm not saying
Right.
that you won't be, but that's my job.
We will
as-
actually, like I said, we already reached out to the CVB, that's a certified bureau, Aurora. We will also reach out to Naperville.
Naperville. Yes.
Of course.
And that's my question. We talked about funds used for eligible expenses. What I want to know, are you asking information on group business? I mean, many hotel leads in Naperville come from the Naperville CVB. So I guess my question is, are you asking them to share their information with
No.
you? Not at all,
Just the form.
just the form.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like our leads are proprietary, our database is proprietary. I wouldn't ask for their proprietary information. I'm asking from the hotels.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I guess we're going to wait for Member Chavez to come back, but do any other members have questions? Oh, go ahead, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we get an occupancy rate on these hotels? Pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID?
Yes. We
Because if a
talked about that
hotel
at our,
ever Gets above 30% occupancy and we're giving them money on every room. You know what I mean?
perhaps I'll let one of the hotels address that in the
Well,
public
I
comments.
don't need a hotel to address it. You can just get us that information. That'd be
So-
possible. Occupancy rate. I mean, my
Last
concern.
month, 65%. Does that sound about right? We talked about this at my board meeting on Thursday. The last 2 months, we have obviously January, February, March, and Chicago is a rough time. So we have seen it go up. Our hotels are getting pent up business right now, which is great. They report that August is a really scary month. And then the problem is the pent up demand is great for right now. 2023, there's not a lot of stuff on the books. We do not, as a convention bureau, talk to local business owners. That's the hotel salespeople's jobs. We go further out what they can't do and bring that business in so that we're helping bump up that occupancy. I just want to make sure that was clear as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Member Zay, you would like to be provided with the occupancy rate for 20, what was it?
19, 20, and 21 I
19, 20,
have.
and 21.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Right, because so what you're saying is if we're paying for all their rooms when they're only
100%
50%,
occupancy.
right? I can say, I get what you're saying. Okay, great, thank you. Member Chavez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just kind of want to drive this home a little. I don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good here. We have hotels that we know have been hurting for the last few years. There is no question there whatsoever. So I think for us to start to continue to pick and pick and pick at this, we are asking for $112 per room. I mean, that's a steal in DuPage County if you were to get a room rate at that rate. The ARPA guidelines for tourism are small because we know this industry needs the money. And I think we are late in getting it into their hands. These hotels have been impacted, and we need to trust that the people sitting in that audience know their business better than anyone on this floor. So for us to sit here and question how they're going to use the money, who's more impacted, how do we prioritize? I think it's kind of crazy. We have a job to do, and that is to help. And we have been given the opportunity to be good stewards of this money. I know we owe that to the taxpayers of DuPage County, but part of that is allowing this industry to recover and to flourish and to thrive, because at the end of the day, that drives the money back into the pockets of the people of DuPage County. We didn't ask for a readout of every business small business that we put through our small business program. We don't know if every single one of those businesses survived. We did not get every level of detail maybe that we wanted there, but we have this industry. We have an expert here with Beth. We have reworked this program, in my opinion, too many times. It's time for us to step up and say, it's time. Let's get this money into the hands of the industry. Now, I have heard a couple things. I want to be open to the feedback of this board. I want this desperately to pass on July 12th. So I want to make sure that the people on this floor are comfortable. I want to get a yes vote. So I'm wondering, Beth, can we talk a little bit about that administration fee? Because I do think part of that is going to the $2 million. And I think what's not clear perhaps is that part of that administration fee is also going to help with planning out the marketing program, correct?
Correct.
So when I want to make sure that everyone knows that it's not just 2% going toward $2 million, but it's 2% that's also going to create a program that will drive business into the years to come. And so there will be some man hours behind that. Are you comfortable, and is this board comfortable if we maybe between now and then get to about maybe a 5 to 8% range? It sounds like that may be the sweet spot where we need to get with this board. But we know it'll only be up to your actual expenses, correct?
So should I say 2.8 less a percentage point so that it's a little clearer?
Well, I think we should, oh, sorry. I think what we should be saying is it's not up to 10. Should we get more to a 5
Okay,
to
you said 2
8%?
and I wasn't following you.
apologize.
No, that's okay.
If I misspoke. So can we get to more of a 5 to 8% range? Would you feel comfortable with that? If, is that, sorry, Brian. Okay. But we're also administering a marketing program here.
Right.
So there is going to be cost at the DuPage County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I don't want Beth to be short there.
Greg Belloff was at our meeting, and I will tell you, the hotels, as busy as they are, and I know we talked about this, board member Chavez, we are going to have to spoon feed them. They're working round the clock. We will need to help each and every hotel with this application. I know it's very simple, but I'm telling you, we will have to
And
do
there
quite
has
a
been
training
concern
program.
on that. Like, we want to make sure that every single hotels apply for this money, and it will take work on the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau because we'll be reaching out to them, answering questions. It will be unlike our business program, a small business program, in that way that we want to make sure every single hotel gets this money. And the truth is that everyone sitting in the audience today has been cleaning rooms, has been answering phone calls, has been working in their parking cars probably. So they don't have time to sit here and make sure that they've got this long, huge form to fill out, which is why we made it so simple. So, but I think in order to get to a yes vote on the 12th, could we agree that we can get somewhere between 5 and 8, and that would be our up to amount? Is the board comfortable with
Well,
that?
okay, so here, I'm hearing a couple different things here. I'm
Okay.
hearing that part of that administration fee is going to be used for another program.
No, the one that's proposed in this.
But so why isn't that money then allocated to a program instead of the administration fee? I think if we could have that clearer, that would spell
So
it out.
can we clarify that?
Can we
by
clarify
the
that?
12th?
Right, because
Okay.
what I'm hearing is that part of that administration fee is going to be used for another program.
It's the program that's in here. So there's the $2 million going to the hotels. There's the 750 that'll be the joint marketing program. That, and part of that administration is both of those programs.
So
But
I
it's all
probably at the
in
bottom
this.
should have put, instead of putting it into the first program, at the bottom, say for a total of administration fee. Yeah.
Right, because what I thought I was hearing was that part of the administration fee was going to be for a program.
It is for marketing
Right.
and for the Cmap program.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think we need to take that out of administration fees and use it for the program, because that's what it's going to be used for, not administration. Am I correct? Because that's what I'm hearing. I don't know unless I'm hearing it
It's all
wrong.
three.
It's all three, yeah.
Because I think we need to have it broken out. What is actually administration? What are going to programs, and
But
what's going to hotels?
I don't think we'll know that exact administration fee until we've administered the program. So it's an up to amount.
And well, and then Choose DuPage is going to be doing the marketing. So would that
Yes.
marketing, so is that administration fee going to Choose DuPage?
Some of it, because they're combining that program and they're doing it together for the 750.
It's actually going to go to the marketing agency. And they'll take their customary 15% agency fee.
Now, that sounds a little bit, okay, so it's now sounding a little bit different from what we're being presented, but Member Krajewski, go
no.
ahead.
That's the problem. We get these presentations is we got stuff in the presentation that's going to be used for something else. I mean, why don't we just get the hotels, whatever the cost to administer it is, it should be very minimal. It's a two-page form here. And maybe it's 50 grand, whatever it is to administer it. And that's part of the hotel program. And then you're getting 750,000 for marketing. Why? I mean, what does it matter whether it's, if I want money to administer the 750,000, that's 750,000, administer it with the 750,000 in the marketing.
Okay,
I mean, I
so
don't understand what the.
do we want, so let's just separate it out then. Let's do the 2 million for the hotels with a 5 to 8, up to 5 to 8-ish, or up to 8.
why
What's
is
the
it
board
5 to
comfortable
8?
with?
It's a two-page form. It's
Okay,
going
not to
everybody.
exceed. So what are
Just-
you comfortable with, Member Krajewski, on a not to exceed?
Our state's attorney is telling us that's about
I would-
200,000 at 8%
Yeah, I
for a
would
$2
just
million
do
loan,
their actual-
$2.7 million.
Remember
So
Renahan said we had a 0.5% to administer $21 million, and that was a lot more work. You had 650 applications. You had to go through all of the financial detail. This is, every hotel is pretty much getting it as long as they check these boxes. I don't see how much administration costs.
I don't,
Just take their actual
I
time.
want Naperville hotels to get this grant. I don't have Naperville contacts. I will have to work with the Convention Bureau. I will have to walk them through.
How
They
many
don't know who
hotels
we
do have
are.
in DuPage?
I'm sorry,
How many hotels do we have in DuPage?
116.
So you got 116 of these to send out. You can't, I mean, just take their actual time, whatever time they spend on it.
That's what I said.
that's
We
what
could do
she's gonna do.
actual
She's
time and
only
materials
going
up
to
to.
bill for
Right.
actual time and
I
materials.
understand, but the up to, I mean,
Okay, so, but how do we budget this if we don't have an up to? We've got to know.
oh, 50 grand. I mean, I don't know, how long does it take to do 116 hotels with?
I have to pay a CPA to gather all this. I have
Yes,
to. So we're gonna double check every single hotel room at every hotel.
They're
It's-
signing a certification
Mr.
form
Hill.
at that station. It's like they did for the, okay, whatever. I just.
yeah, I think if we can shore up this administration fee, I think
I
really
think that's
honest.
the only sticking point right now is everyone's comfortable with the program. Everyone's comfortable, I believe, with the marketing. I think what we'll do is we'll separate the 3 out into separate resolutions, if that's possible with
So my
staff.
7th iteration of this, I just
I
want the
know,
hotels to know
this is
this.
why I just,
There you go. Nate.
I don't,
This is
okay,
DuPage
okay, everybody, wait,
County
wait, can we have,
Convention and
wait,
Visitor
everybody. Hang on a second. We need some decorum here. We need some. Okay, but we're gonna raise our hands. Member Selman's been waiting, so I'm gonna let Member Selman go, then member, and then Member Covert. Okay, so yes. No, it's passion. Everybody's passionate here.
Right, thank you so much, Madam Chair. I think I want to reiterate, Beth, that this is, I can't even count how many times I've seen you expand, shrink, take feedback.
Now we want more.
Take feedback from, members of this committee with that, in all due respect, we don't do your job. I don't work with hotels every day. I have stayed at one hotel during the pandemic in the county and was just impressed anyone worked there, honestly. We have hotels that sold off bed linens. They need to go buy those so people can come back. We have hotels that sold off their vehicles. So they need to buy the vehicle and then go to our labor market and try to find someone to drive them. I do not understand the objection to administrative fees every time it comes to this board. Work requires payment. You're not a volunteer organization. You're a professional. You work with professionals. If they need to do more work, I'm sure you want to pay them to make sure they don't quit as soon as this project's done. I think when you contract Macklin to work with this part that is Choose DuPage, they deserve payment. We've seen the work they've done for Choose DuPage, for the Arts Fest. They're brilliant. And 15% sounds like a heck of a deal. So I would encourage this board to recognize your expertise and give it the respect that it's due. And frankly, stop trying to nickel and dime this into infinity. We've really ran out of time. We have put this back and put this back for so many months. When you look at our competitive taller counties in this area, we're so behind the mark. And that's not how DuPage County normally leads. So I would encourage my colleagues to respect your expertise, to respect that you have put so much work into this, to right sizing it, and to give you a little bit of faith that you will administer this both. I mean, you're not doing it by yourself. You're working with some of our most valued partners in Choose DuPage and Cmap. So thank you for this presentation, and I very much hope we can get it to a vote.
Thank you, Member Selman. We're going to go to Member Ozak, Member Tornatori, then Member Covert, and then to close, what was that? Member Chavez. And then we're going to, because we have our still business, and we still have some important stuff under old business that we need to get done. So Member Ozak.
I would like this board to remember that one of our most important functions is to, excuse me, Member Plant, please stop. It's important for us to ask these questions. Okay, this is our fiduciary responsibility. At least 5 of us have asked questions along these lines. Okay, and it's not personal, it's our job. And using words like crazy or pick are not appropriate, because these are questions that we have and we would like to be responsible and have them answered. Okay. And I would be comfortable if, at least on paper, and I do understand your process, that it will be as you've done administrative work, et cetera, but I would be more comfortable with a 5%, at least lowering it to 5% of the administrative cost. And I am simply doing my job. And that's what I would like to see before we come back for this at the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ozak. Member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it were up to me in a perfect world, I just write a check to the hotels, bypass the administration fee entirely. Because that's my goal. It's been my goal from day one, since the first time you came here. I've talked to everybody about it. I want to see as much money go to the hotels as possible, and the least amount go to somebody that I don't know who's doing something that may not be, and certainly isn't as important as what the hotels are doing. So this isn't about trust. It's not about respect. It's about getting as much money to the hotels as possible. I do have one question though, that I know that some of the townships and other people didn't ask for the money that we offered them. Why, I don't know. So what happens if 10 hotels that have 500 rooms don't make any application? Where does that money go?
That's where the administration costs, because Nooney and I are gonna
Okay,
drive.
that's where the administration costs.
We're gonna drive, literally, we're gonna drive right to the hotel, and we're gonna fill out the application for them. And that's why I'm saying there will be.
But where's that money gonna go? I think it's a legitimate question. Where's the money gonna go? It's gonna be left over, right?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna do everything in our power to make sure every hotel gets this money.
So are you telling me you're gonna charge more for administration fees if if not all the hotels make their applications?
I'm gonna charge for time and materials.
But at what expense? Because somebody doesn't have the wherewithal to fill out an application? If they don't fill out the application, they shouldn't get the money, period. And take that money and give it to the other hotels who deserve it. I don't know why the administration fee should be higher because somebody doesn't do their job. Not you guys, I'm talking about a hotel. That is certainly counterintuitive to me. So if that's the case, I'd like to see whatever is left over in the pot, if there is anything, somehow redirected to the hotels. Not to administration, because I don't think you should be wasting your time, quite frankly, on people who don't know how to fill out a one-page form. And I don't think the taxpayer should pay extra for that, especially when hotels probably need more than $112 a room. Oh, thanks, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Member Tornatori. Member Krajewski, Member Covert, and then Member Chavez, if you have anything else, then we're wrapping that up.
When this proposal first came forward, it asked for $300,000 in administrative fees, and they met with staff, and staff said the same thing. They were doing their job, and they said that number is too high. They come back, and the number came back, and it was lower. I spoke with Beth outside of economic development last week, and I asked about the $300,000. She said she wanted money for some other things with that 300,000. So we are doing our job. We have a lot of people have questions on the administrative expenses. This thing's come back a lot. Yes, I met a while ago with Beth and Amy when they wanted money for bid fees. The first one I saw that jumped out at me was the President's Cup, $50,000. President's Cup's already coming here to my diner. There is no bid fee. The comment was, I wanted to use that for Media Day and some other programs. And so what we're trying to vet out is what is the money needed for? And it's like we get asked for money and then we ask questions and it's not that much money, but it's being used for something else. If we would just get the ask for what we want to use it for, it would make this job a lot easier for us. Clearly, everybody here wants to give money to the hotels and get it to them as fast as they can. It's the other stuff that is driving the questions. And we are doing our job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Member Chusky, Member Covert.
I wholeheartedly agree with Member Tornatori, Member Ranahan, Member Krajewski. Why not do away with the admin fee? We get more money for hotels. And I am just offering, it's not an attack on your expertise or anything like that. I am asking you, would it be, I would think, would it be easier? We could take more off your plate. Naperville CVB, we're offering to do 18 hotels for free, the processing of it. Would that be something that you're interested in? Because it does take a lot off your plate. We don't have to, we can do away with this 10% or 20%, whatever admin fee, and it would just streamline the process. So that's just, it's out there for you to think about, and we're willing to do 18 hotels for free processing. So.
Thank you, Member Covert. So yeah, and I do think everybody here is asking appropriate questions. We really do need to know what the money is being spent on. And, I'm hearing different things. Board members are hearing different things. I think our ultimate goal is we all want to get the money to the hotels. That is a, I think, consensus from all of us. But what I think is concerning is this administration fee. We had Choose DuPage, do it. They had a lot more federal dollars that we gave them, and they were doing it for a lot less administration fee. So we had to make sure that that money is being used appropriately. And, I want to, I don't mind giving the money out, but I think it's important that we know exactly where we're going. So I think if you guys come, get that fee reduced to what it actually is going to be, let us know where the money is going to be used. I think this will fly through in 2 weeks. That's kind of what I'm hearing from everybody here. So Member Chavez to close.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Madam Chair. So what I'm hearing from the group is that we're probably most comfortable with a $2 million given to the hotels. 625,000 perhaps for marketing is a bit of a give, 50,000 for Cmap. And then what if we were to just propose an up to amount of 125,000 to administer everything? Does that feel like, can I get kind of a show of hands that sounds like a reasonable offering so that we can quickly get this passed on July 12th and get it out to the hotels?
Member Garcia.
I mean, I am showing hands.
Oh, your
Show of
consensus,
hands as to whether or not that's reasonable. Are you not there, member? So the market, so really to administer, we do an up to of 125,000 instead of the 200. So per your advice, I just reduced that to 625,000 for that program. So we just took 125,000 out of it.
No, I think, you know what I think we need to do? I think,
I trust that Beth can take $750,000 in marketing and market to get as many people in the hotels as humanly possible. I trust that. Okay, so if you want to say it's 750 and no administration fee, or 625 and 125, it's still coming out to 750. I'm okay with that. It's the 2 million that I'd like to see as much of that go to the hotels. That's all I've been saying for the last hour and a half. So if we can do that, and based on what you're suggesting, if that's what you're proposing in some way to get this 2 million and as many of those dollars as possible to the hotels without an administration fee, then I'm fine with that.
So I think in fairness to Beth, because we're putting her on the spot here. I don't like doing that. I think in fairness to Beth, Amy and Beth and staff, I think you know the direction that we want to go in. I think you all develop that and then come back in 2 weeks and, and get it out to us as soon as you have it. But I don't think that's fair to do that. to Beth.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. We will.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. And with that, thank you everyone for your
Thank you,
comments.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Beth. Thank you. Okay. And then with that, we're going to move on with public comments. So I would like to welcome Bob Rada from Oak Brook Terrace. Come on down. Thank you. Good morning.
There we go. Okay, thank you very much for the time and the attention. Again, I'm an alderman in Oak Brook Terrace. And, we're all talking in macro here, the hotels and the county, this and that, but I just want to let you know what the importance is to the citizens of Oak Brook Terrace. Let's face it, the citizens, they're all of our bosses. Okay, that's when the rubber hits the road, that's important. And I just want to give you an example here, so you know what I'm talking about. Oak Brook Terrace, we have 6 or 8 hotels, depending upon whether the multi branded hotels account as 1 or 2. We have 2,000 residents, not enough coffee, residents. But during the week, it goes up to around 50,000. We have a lot of corporate headquarters, a lot of businesses, stores. It's very, very important to us. Okay, tourist dollars, hotel dollars, and I'll explain why. We don't have any real estate taxes. So we rely on these type of taxes for our general fund. In fact, it's one of our top 3 revenue sources. In 2019, it was 16% of our general revenue fund. And I'm going to present some numbers to you, which I know as a finance committee, you will understand. We work on a May 1 fiscal. 18 to 19, we saw an 8% decrease. I'm sure these numbers will be no surprise to you. 19-20, a 14% increase. 21-22, a 60% increase. So you all know what that means to a general fund when you lose 8%, 14%, 60%. That hurts. In our 2022-23 budget, we're extrapolating out, we're guesstimating it's going to be at the 2019 levels. So again, we're 8% and 14% less than what we need. So that's the importance of the stimulus money for the hotels. And it should not be delayed, because once the money comes in, it doesn't immediately occur. There's a time lag. So we're looking at 23 right now. Also, the halo effect, sales tax, of course, shopping, restaurants, etc., is very, very important. We're a strong believer and we support DCVB. Okay, besides our dues, which is a percentage of our hotel revenue tax, which we sincerely hope this goes up, because the more hotel tax comes in, the higher our dues. Right now, we're around 45,000. We pay assisting, was brought up about us assisting our hotels. We do. We pay for our hotels' dues for DCVB. There's no expense for them to be a member and the benefits of DCVB. We also contribute $80,000 towards marketing for our hotels in Oak Brook Terrace. This fund comes from our city to the hotels. It's a marketing fund, and it's administrated by a committee of the hotels, which through DCVB, who acts as they do not charge for services as a marketing company. So to put it bluntly, unless we start to see this come up and we start to get more on our general revenue funds, we're going to need to raise taxes, okay, or have a tax or put another tax on something. So just want you to realize the effect that this has at the ground level to the citizens. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. Next on for public comment, I have from the residents in Oak Brook, is it Brook or Delucio? I'm sorry. Hi, welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just want to say thank you everybody for your time today. That money that we would be supposedly getting would definitely help go towards getting more staff for our hotel to get more people to come in. Right now, currently, we have to close down our inventory because we don't have enough people to clean. We don't have enough people to be at the front desk. We don't have a night auditor. We are all working tirelessly and endless hours to get to the rooms that we have that we can sell. So that money, I mean, for my hotel, it's roughly like $17,000. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot, but it would help. So that's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, I have Kim Myers. Morning.
Opportunity to speak. I was going to read a letter from Gregory S. Moore, the Senior Director of Tournament Programming for the United States Bowling Congress. However, it sounds like this thing is moving forward. However, we would like to see your vote for the approval on this. You know, this has gone through what, 7 revisions now? And if it really was something that is something that we wanted to do, it would have been approved. Everybody would have been moving forward. However, each time we do a revision, something new comes up. And there's something else that we talk about, something else that's discussed, that's not allowing us to move forward with this. If we really want to put the money into the hotel's hands, like we're talking about, then we need to put this money into the hotel's hands. So when we look at what this money goes for, it goes for, you know, things such as payroll. You know, our payroll dollars have gone up. You know, that means that we still have debt service that we have to pay for our banks, right? So anything that we get is going to assist us in improving our business. But at the end of the day, we do need this vote to go through because it does help the properties, and every property in DuPage County sees something out of this, and something that we definitely need to see passed come July 12th. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Next on the list is Neville Campbell. Welcome.
Members. One of my highlights today was actually hearing you guys talk so passionately about your employees, about fairness, increase in wages, treatment. And that's the same thing with the hotels as well. And that's what this money would do for us, is getting us to that level, because we're all under the same pressure that you guys are under as well. Hearing member LaPlante speak about her stay at a hotel and the level of service, right? That's what we're trying to improve as well. We're trying to get back to where we were in 2019 and prior to. And I think giving us this money will help us get to that. It's not the end all be all. If we could have more, we would take more, because that would get us back there. But you know, I hope we have your support, and we look forward to working with you guys.
Great. Thank you so much. Next, we have Evan Walter from the Village of Blue Ridge. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you, everyone, today for your passion and your comments. As a municipal manager, Village of Blue Ridge, I certainly understand the need for fiduciary responsibility that you all carry out for all the citizens and residents of the county, the businesses who benefit from these programs. But at the end of the day, I think what we've heard today is good consensus. Consensus does not mean perfect. It does not mean unanimous, but it does mean that we have a direction in hand here. We heard a lot of good discussion today, but now that we have reached consensus, I would just urge this body to move forward with that consensus and take a vote on July 12th to move this forward. Speaking as a municipal manager, hotels are one of the most important elements of our local economy. They provide a lot to our economy. When they were not having high stays, we did see a definite reduction in our revenues as a village. But again, I think there's consensus here. I don't think there's need to belabor the point. Heard a lot of good discussion to be productive to try and get to a yes. I look forward to seeing that vote take place on July 12th. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Matt Kniff, Doubletree Suites.
Good morning. Thank you. All my texts this morning are, where are you? So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your support of Beth, members that have voiced your opinion about hotels. We've been in a very difficult spot. The money that we're asking for, I would never look a gift horse in the mouth. It's fantastic. But we're looking at 720, 30 days of loss, 2 years. This is one sold out night with an okay ADR. So it may be a large ask on your side, but the impact for us, we have so many places to put this. It's unbelievable. We have a shipping container that I'm not exactly sure where it is, but it's mirrors, it's lighting packages, things to improve our hotels. Shipping costs went from 6,000 to 18,000. So there's a lot of things that are increasing. But one thing I wanted to mention about Beth's bid process is that we were the host hotel for USBC, which was fantastic. Created an amazing base for us, which allowed us to increase rate, which increased taxes that is sent to the municipalities and DuPage. It also allowed us to hire and keep full-time employees, front desk, public space, everything. I've had enough of mopping bathrooms and cleaning, housekeeping, doing housekeeping duties. So which we all have. So just appreciate your support on this. And if there's anything that you need from the hotels as far as occupancy, things like that, obviously we provide that. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Tonya Pavaro.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Tanya Paravano. My husband and I own Andrews Garden in downtown Wheaton. And my first thoughts today were to really reflect, first of all, Wheaton doesn't have any hotels, but we are a member of the DCBB because of the impact that this entire program has on even the smallest businesses in the downtown areas. The impact of the dollars that we're looking for goes so far beyond just the hotels. And being a part of this group of people and knowing what they have gone through in the past few years, as well as what other small business owners have, this is so necessary. And I agree with the comment. I think it may have been whoever said, let's not let the perfect get in the way of the good. This is so past time for the dollars that we need to go to this effort for the hotels. And I do want to say too, it would be something like the cyclocross event that was held at Cantini here in Wheaton. We saw the impact of that in my store. I talked to people that came to our store that were from out of state who couldn't get over what a beautiful downtown it was and what a great hotel experience they were having. And I mean, kudos to Cantini for taking a chance on that type of an event on such a pristine property, and they were willing to do it. And here they are doing Alebrijes again too. Those impact every small business, every hotel in this county. And I hear and I see the work that Beth and her team, the staff at the CBB does to make those happen. And it hurts to hear the criticisms of an administrative fee. And I understand, I mean, I'm an attorney. I've worked in the financial services industry my whole life, or my whole career. I understand the need for fiduciary responsibility and to look at those numbers and to have an appropriate explanation for where they go. But the hours and hours and hours that go into an event like cyclocross to get it here in the first place, to support these hotels. When Beth talks about driving to each hotel to support the filling out of these applications, it's not about whether or not these people have the wherewithal to fill it out. It's about whether they know that the form exists. It's about whether or not they have time to fill it out because they're cleaning a room because they have a guest waiting in the lobby. And my business was the beneficiary of a Choose DuPage grant, of PPP loans, of an EIDL loan, because I spent my nights up searching and searching and searching. And a lot of people don't have the time to do that. They have the wherewithal. They have a lot of things on their plate and they may not even know it's out there. So I appreciate what Beth does. I appreciate what you are doing in considering this. I'm a 22-year resident of DuPage County, and I respect the fiduciary responsibility that you have to me as a taxpayer. But I strongly support this proposal, and I hope that you will take that into consideration of how hard this group of people has been working, how hard we have been working to recover from this economy. And we couldn't do it without somebody like Beth out there being our cheerleader and doing all the hard work she does. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Nathan Karsten. Okay, thank you. Next, I have Tammy Rogers.
I'm Tammy Rogers. I'm the general manager of the Fairfield Inn and Suites in Lombard. And first, I want to say thank you for all the comments, and it sounds like we do have your support, so thank you very much. I could go on and on telling you what my hotel needs, from my Dectron unit that just went to my dryer that just went to my 2 ice machines. So we all have our own stories of our struggles, and for 2-3 years, nothing got fixed in my hotel. Nothing was updated, and now we're all paying the price for all of that. Sonia, my assistant general manager and director of sales, her and I work countless hours trying to do night audit, trying to pitch in where during the day, nights, working a 24-hour shift, we are shorthanded. So every hotel has their own stories, and we could all use this money. But I want to touch on the DCBB. Beth and her team have been so supportive through these last few years of our struggles, and we wouldn't be where we are without them. From the countless hours of her calling me on the beach in Florida, trying to get me a piece of business when I was vacationing, and her hearing the waves in the background, and her and I working for an hour and a half, and her apologizing, go, no, do you want me to let you go? And I'm like, no, we're gonna do this. I appreciate everything you do, Beth, and you have my full backing. My ownership, my management team knows exactly what you and your team do. Without you, we wouldn't have Intelligentsia Cup coming to our hotel in July for us to roll out the red carpet. And we do everything we can. When they bring us a piece of business, we won't let it go, no matter what the cost. If we have to stay overnight in my office on a blow up air mattress, because I know she went out of her way to make it happen for us. So thank you, Beth. Thank you to your entire team. So something like an administration fee, it goes a long way. I know some people don't understand what that is for, and you're not in the hotel business, but we see what they do on an ongoing basis. And the running they do, the countless hours they put in. When I've worked with Beth for Intelligentsia Cup, and Sonia and I have both gone there to volunteer, she's there at 5 o'clock in the morning, working till midnight. These are the things that nobody sees and you wouldn't see. That's why we're here to tell you. So I hope you can all understand that and appreciate what you have in front of you.
Thank you so much. We have David Gold, Superhost Hospitality.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for your time and your consideration of this. And more importantly, thank you for your support. I do hear the overall feeling that you want to support the hotels, which is much needed and much appreciated. Appreciate Beth's efforts, tireless efforts of making this happen. I believe this has been going on for quite a while. And she sometimes has to grab me by the ear and drag me to get me to come to these things and help out, but mostly just because we're busy. So a couple of things I want to talk about is the marketing aspect of it. The hotel room has a shelf life of 1 night. So a room that sat empty last night cannot be ever resold. The marketing is important for the hotels because this is not the field of dreams. If you build it, they don't just come. We've got to tell people about DuPage County, got to tell people a reason to come here and show a reason for them to come stay in our hotels. But it's really about the people. It's not about a building. Our embassy suites that we have, by the way, we have the embassy suites in Naperville. We have the Staybridge suites in Oak Brook Terrace. So our hotels are the people who come and stay at our hotels are not just spending money at the hotels. They're not just eating at the hotels. Like for Staybridge, they can't eat at our hotels. So they're spending money at the restaurants. They're keeping our employees employed, but they're also employing, keeping restaurants busy. But so the marketing that's bringing people in is helping more than just the hotels. It's helping the surrounding areas and the rest of DuPage County. On the expense side, we're faced with increased wages, significantly increased wages. and our supplies, because all our suppliers are increased wages, and to deliver goods to us, increased gas prices, right? When we can get supplies, very often we wait months before getting things. Our linen costs have gone up 40%. So our expenses are going through the roof. We can't just pass that on to the guest, because we have to stay competitive, not just within DuPage County, but with other locations that people can choose to go. What's driving the business is leisure, and leisure are more rate conscious than business or conferences, right? So what I'm saying is this money helps us. I wouldn't say it's a drop in the bucket. It's significant. It's going to make a difference. It's not solving all the problems, but it does make a difference. As far as the administration fee, I can tell you when I first got in, y'all were talking about HR and I think within DuPage County itself, finding people, retaining people, taking care of, being fair to them. We're doing the same thing for our employees. Gentlemen mentioned that earlier. We're in the same boat as you are, even worse. You know how hard it is to get someone to come clean a room. We have to really take care of those employees. So I thank you for your time and your consideration. I will say that the board spends a lot of time, early mornings, late nights, weekends. The administration fee, I heard her start off saying, we're only gonna spend what we actually spend. We're not asking just for a blank check of $200,000. If that's a sticking point, then maybe that's something we have to work through, but I just ask that this not be delayed any longer, that when the vote comes on July 12th, that we just get this thing done. It's been too long and we've been hurting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for those that just came in, we're still in finance. This is finance public comment. So I don't want you to think you're missing any county board. So with that, I appreciate everybody coming in and your comments today. Thank you very much. And with that, can I have a motion for the approval of the finance committee meetings
Second.
from June 14th? I have a motion from member Tornatori, second member Rutledge. Any discussion? Oh, member Garcia, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I have a motion on finance committee approval minutes, special call June 14th, 2022? Second, moved by Garcia, second by Ozog, or second by Covert. Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing today, plugged ear. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. We move on to budget transfers. Can I have a motion on FIR 026922, budget transfers 62822, various companies, accounting minute units, moved by Garcia, second by Rutledge. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Move on to procurement. Member Krajewski under finance. Oh, Brian's not here. Member Zay, can you please take that?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Move a change order FIP 401D-21 recommendation approval of an amendment to resolution. Change order, purchase order issued to Hart Intercivic for voting equipment, amount of $43,618.
Motion by Zay, second by Desart. Any discussion? Member Zay?
Yeah, I just had one question. Is this grant funded? It said in the decision memo it was coming from a grant, but then it doesn't say on the main resolution. So I assume we're getting this through the grant from Homeland Security.
I think Valerie's coming up. Thank you, Valerie. Thanks for the question, Member Zay.
No, it is not grant funded. They are moving it from their budget transfer to this purchase with Hart.
Okay. Well, I'm just concerned because we had that presentation about this, making sure our voting is safe. And I just don't want to see when we go with low bid that we just keep getting nickeled and dimed all the time. So I'm hoping that this is going to be it at that point.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you. And I did ask a question on this, and I think that some of the other items that qualify for HAVA, they were moving over to HAVA, like IT for their firewall and stuff. I think you'll see that in the budget transfer. So, but I agree, we have to make sure that we're not, keep adding to these contracts, but this looks like it's a good precaution to put these, have these computers in a safe, for emergency. So.
Well, I mean, that's my question, because it says this purchase qualifies under FY22 election security HAVA grant, federal grant award.
All right.
So somebody can just get back. That's fine. I mean, somebody just get back to us.
Yeah.
No reason to pay for it if we're going to get it off grant.
No, I think it's not going to be grant funded, but what I'm saying, if you look at the budget transfers, there were other items that I think were going under the HAVA grant, correct?
That is correct. So they did start off with the HAVA grant. After speaking with the state, they moved it over because it was not qualifiable. And then they moved over to a couple of IT items to cover the HAVA grant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Zay. Next, we have Economic Development, Member Chavez, Member Selman, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I'll move on EDR 250-22, or resolution acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Opportunity Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Grant. This is a total amount of $154,555.
Motion by Selman, second by Covert. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Selman.
Next, I move on EDR 251-22, a resolution amendment to resolution EDR 0435-21, approval of payments to training providers through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for an increase of $389,100.
Motion by Selman, second by Covert. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Selman. Health and Human Services, Member Renahan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on change order HHSP 109A-21, amendment to resolution HHSP 109-21. Issued to Cisco Chicago for primary food supplies and chemicals for the Care Center, the JTK Administration Building and Judicial Facility Campus Cafes, extending through November 30th, 2022, and increasing encumbrance in the amount of $501,500.
Motion by Renahan, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of HHSP 195-22, recommendation for approval of county contract to Benovate Inc., DBA Neighborly Software to support grant application management process for Community Development Division, July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, a total contract of $45,000.
Motion by Renahan, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of HHSP 196-22, recommendation for approval of a contract to Warehouse Direct for hand soap personal care items for the Care Center, June 29, 2022 through June 28th, 2024, not to exceed $68,813.
Motion by Renahan, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. We move on to Judicial Public Safety. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of JPSP 194-22, recommendation for approval of contract to Ray O'Hare and Co. for firearm ammunition as needed, July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, not to exceed $150,000.
Motion by Renahan, second by Covert. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of JPSR 247-22, resolution acceptance and appropriation of Illinois Family Violence Coordinating Council grant PY 23, $39,000 for the 18th Judicial Circuit Court.
Motion by Renahan, second by Covert. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Renahan. We move on to Public Works, Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move for approval of a change order PWCO 0077A20, amendment to resolution PWP 007720, issued to Stewart Spreading due to fuel surcharge based on the rising cost of diesel fuel for public works to increase the contract in the amount of $111,830, taking the original contract amount of $1,349,800 and resulting in an amendment contract total not to exceed $1,460,883, an increase of 8.23%.
Motion by Member Ozog, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of FMP 019822, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Kone Incorporated to provide elevator and escalator maintenance and repair services and modernization of elevators at the 509 parking garage, various capital improvements as needed for county facilities, for facilities management for the period July 1st, 2022 through December 4th, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $3,424,330.48.
Motion by Ozog, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog.
I move for approval of FMP 019922, recommendation for the approval of a contract to PPG Architectural Finishes to furnish and deliver paint and painting supplies as needed for county facilities for facilities management for the period June 29th, 2023 through January 15th, 2024, for a contract amount not to exceed $42,500.
Motion by Ozog, second by Rutledge. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Finally, I move for approval of FMP 0222. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Deere and Company to furnish and deliver 2 John Deere Gator Signature Edition for facilities management for the period through November 30th, 2022, for a total contract amount not to exceed $53,910.28. Contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act.
Motion by Ozog, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Ozog. We move on to transportation. Member Pachowski.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. I move to approve change order DTR 0191A-21 amendment to a resolution issued to K5 Construction for the 2021 pavement maintenance south program to decrease the funding $25,694.22, resulting in a final county cost of $4,068,209.77.
Motion by Pachowski, second by Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member
Thank you,
Pachowski.
Madam Chair. Move to approve DTP 0197-22 recommendation for approval of contract to Rush Truck Centers of Illinois, Inc. for the purchase of 8 tandem axle 6-wheeler snow plows with snow and ice equipment for the Division of Transportation for contract not to exceed $2,347,562.
Motion by Member Pachowski, second by Member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Pachowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to approve DTP 0201-22 recommendation for approval of contract to Traffic Control Corporation for annual maintenance support services for Division of Transportation's Centrax ATM S software system not to exceed $31,257.
Motion by Member Pachowski, second by Member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member
Thank
Pachowski.
you. Move to approve DTR 0263-22, an awarding resolution to H&H Electric Company for LED traffic signal head replacement at various locations of the DuPage County for an estimated county cost of $298,659.91.
Motion by Member Pachowski, second by Member Covert. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member
Thank you.
Pachowski.
Finally, Madam Chair, move to approve DTR 0264-22, a resolution for a local public agency agreement between the County of DuPage and Illinois Department of Transportation for central signal system expansion at 4 various locations for estimated cost of $2,231,848.
Motion by Member Pachowski, second by Member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Pachowski. We move on to finance resolutions. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FI 0039-22 ordinance determining the compensation of DuPage County Public Defender.
Motion by Krajewski, second by Pachowski. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to combine items B through G, all acceptance and appropriation.
We have a
Resolution.
motion to approve items B through G by Member Krajewski, second by Member Zaya. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0248-22 resolution, which is acceptance appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity National Dislocated Worker Disaster Relief Grant. FIR 0249-22 resolution acceptance of an extension of time for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity National Dislocated Worker Employment Recovery Grant. FIR 0257-22 resolution acceptance and appropriation of PACE Ride DuPage subsidy agreement. FIR 0258-22 resolution, which is acceptance appropriation of income eligible profits program grant. And FIR 0259-22 resolution for additional appropriation of Illinois Department of Human Services Emergency Solutions Grant. And last FIR 026261-22 acceptance appropriation of additional funding contract extension for low income home energy assistance program.
Motion by Krajewski, second by Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0266-22 additional appropriation for ARPA fund for the DuPage County Special Recreation Association.
Motion by Member Krajewski, second by Renahan. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Last, I move on FIR 0270-22 resolution approving an intergovernmental grant agreement with the DuPage County Special Recreation Associations. for
Motion by
use of
Member
ARPA funds.
Krajewski, second by Member Ozog. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. We move on to informational. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file informational items, A, payment claims, B, wire transfers, C, appointments, and D, grant proposal notification.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Member Garcia to receive and place on file items A, B, C, and D under informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, under old business, we have our budget survey. So as we move through the budget process, we once again are seeking your input on the annual budget survey. So I'm looking for guidance onto, as to whether, do we want to do a budget survey this year? Do we have a consensus to do a budget survey? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. So, all right. So each year our staff incorporates county board input for a sampling of residents' opinions about their priorities as they relate to DuPage County programs and services. First, staff are seeking your suggestions for the budget questions to include. So if you can please send your suggestions to Joan Olson, that would be much appreciated. Secondly, into response to suggestions made last year, I'm seeking direction from the board as to whether there's an appetite to work with the Northern Illinois University Center for Government Studies on this year's survey. Their survey research unit provides professional governmental market research services. We could contract with their staff on a limited basis to assist our county staff with formulating survey questions, seeking demographic information from respondents, assisting staff in survey analysis, including controlling for multiple responses from the same IP address. If there is an appetite among the board to seek consulting services, we could pursue an agreement with NIU not to exceed 15,000. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you want to do the budget survey as we've always done it with staff, or do we want to look for some assistance from NIU? Member Garcia?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to get some assistance with this. I know there were some issues with the last budget survey, and I think it would be best to have like an outside agency kind of help us so that we can make sure. I know there was multiple application or multiple people who had put in the same information. I don't want to see that happen again. I know I personally got some complaints about that. And I think it would just be a very, I think, less biased survey perhaps if we were to have somebody else do that, so.
Thank you. Okay, so I have Member Desart, Member Selman, Member Pachowski, and Member Krajewski. So Member Desart.
Thank you. I like the idea of having this help. I'm just wondering if there's a cost involved.
Up to 15,000, a contract not to exceed 15,000. Okay, Member Selman.
I'm just in complete agreement with Member Garcia. I think there's also the added advantage that what we learned this year can be used years going forward. I think last year we probably used the same process we've used the year before that and before that. And so this will be an opportunity for a refresh, and I'm a little shocked it's only 15,000. So
Okay.
I think that sounds like a heck of a deal.
Thank you, Member Pachowski.
I'm not against it because of the cost, because it's very reasonable. I don't know if it's necessary. How much feedback do we get? And do we want to make it so meticulous that people, I want to make it more user-friendly than non-user-friendly. I haven't heard from staff that they thought this was a great idea. So I don't think it's necessary, even though the cost is very reasonable.
Thank you, Member Pachowski. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm fine with that. I'd just like to see maybe if you could expand it with Northern Illinois. I'd like to see them do a survey with our internal employees. I'd like to see what their thoughts are with regards to their potential needs, what they think they have to do their job more efficiently, how our support staff functions, like how the finance department, IT, HR, facilities management, what they do. Because I think getting that feedback from them will allow us to decide when we do this budget for 23, where we want to put our resources or what we can do to help staff get their jobs done. But unless I know what the issues are from them, I can't say where we should allocate money. So if they can do that too, it'd be even great. Have a third party come in, because I'm not sure our staff has the time to do it.
Joan, you want to take that? Thank you.
I think that would be something we'd have to talk with them about separately. That's not anything I brought up to them immediately, but I would be more than willing to bring that up to them if that's the will of the board.
We have money, we have a lot of openings. I just would like to know what staff needs to get their job done. Do they feel like they need more training, more technology, more support from IT, whatever it is, but
Okay.
I just don't know those answers. And that'd be great if we could do a survey for this upcoming budget season.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it sounds like two separate things. So if we get consensus on working with Northern Illinois for the budget today, then Joan can move ahead with that. And then what we can do is, Member Krajewski, if you'd like to send what you'd like in that survey to Joan, then Joan could reach out to Northern Illinois and see if that's something we can include for our 2023 budget. Okay, I think, Joan, do you have direction now with that? So are we in consensus to move on with Illinois? Yes. Okay, so great. Thank you so much.
And I would just ask if everyone can please, again, send me
Yes.
joan.olson@dupagecom.org your suggested questions, and I will begin getting those in great shape. So thank you.
Yes, and thanks so much, Joan, for your help with that. I appreciate it. Oh, go ahead, Member Selman.
Super quickly, could you send us last year's survey to kind of get our thoughts jogging?
I can do better than that. It's on the transparency portal
Oh,
on the
the best
website.
portal. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. So do we have any other old business? Any new business? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? By Member Zay, second by Garcia, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.